Welcome to Horror Cinema Obsession. Here, we dive deep into the chilling depths of horror cinema, from the critically acclaimed scares to the laughably ludicrous, and even the delightfully obscure. Now, let's join our hosts, Richard and Angelus, as they share their love, laughs, and sometimes sheer disbelief at the world of horror movies.
Okay, those are cool socks, Vienna. They hold hands. They're magnetic.
They have faces.
Interesting. Oh, hello, folks. Didn't know we were recording. Those socks are wild. Anyways, Angelus, my beautiful co-host, how are you doing? Novia.
I'm doing okay. How are you?
You're doing all right?
Ricardo. Mm-hmm.
Guys, we lied on our Instagram. We didn't record Friday night.
We didn't?
Nope.
That's effing wild.
We're recording right now, Saturday evening.
It's Saturday evening?
Yeah, isn't that fucking wild?
Yeah. Where did the day go?
I don't know, man. I don't know. How are you?
I'm good.
You're good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we had an exciting day so far. This is a good nightcapper for us. We had your niece's birthday party. That was exciting. Got wet. Didn't want to get wet, but
it happened.
It happened. You know, it felt good. It was warm, I guess. It was a beautiful day for a birthday party.
It was blazing hot.
The water park stuff that they had in the backyard was cool, though. That dragon was awesome, and the kids loved that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Lucas was crazy.
He was a dinosaur for half a day.
That kid was off in his own little world.
He has a big imagination.
Yeah, that's good.
I like that.
Reminds me of when I was a kid. That was all me. I was in my head.
There, I was like, "Hi." He was like roaring. I was like, "Okay, cool." We roar away.
That was interesting birthday party. You know that ain't my thing. Kids' birthday parties. But I love you, and I participate. Consider yourself lucky, because other girlfriends would not have that. I would have not shown up.
What? We're talking about your exes on the pod?
Nope.
That's weird, man.
No, I'm just saying that I'm going above and beyond. I'm going to like birthday parties. I'm going to family outings. I'm going to family vacations.
Baby showers.
I'm an introvert, man. I need my own personal time. But I'm dedicating all my time with you and your family.
Oh,
what's up? What's up?
You still have your alone time. You had your alone time yesterday.
I know. It was glorious.
It was glorious.
Yeah. Sorry, I was a little grumpy last night. That's the real reason why we couldn't record last night. I went to work. Usually I don't work that early, but I had to go to work at like 4:30.
Didn't you pull a 12-hour shift?
I don't know. We were done at by 3. So it's just getting out there. It's just travel. So, yeah, I mean, by the time I got here, I was riding high. I was good. I was feeling it. I cleaned the house. I vacuumed. I was pumped. But by the time you came, hours later, I was toast. I was laying there. I was watching my guilty pleasure White Collar, which, shout out, dope, on Netflix. And then, yeah, I just couldn't muster up the energy. But I'm feeling good now. Are you feeling better? Because you kind of had a meltdown, too.
Yeah, I was tired, stressed. Yeah, it's fine. We'll get by.
Yeah, we're getting by. We've got an exciting one tonight, guys.
Rich's old-time favorite.
Yep, we're covering Nightmare on Elm Street, a classic, The GOAT. But guess what?
The GOAT, 2010.
It's the remake. Oh, there's people just like, oh, you fucking piece of shit. They're excited about the original.
You lied.
Anyways, let's get to it. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, before I share my initial thoughts on this movie.
Oh, lordy lord.
What are your initial thoughts on this?
Masterpiece. Brilliant.
Give me your honest take. Again, guys, we don't talk about this beforehand, but she's being sarcastic. Let's hear your honesty.
Not my favorite.
Why wasn't your favorite?
Because the OG wasn't there. I don't know.
Who's the OG?
Ed England.
Who?
I forgot his name.
Oh, Robert England?
England.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a bummer, but you know, in 2010, he's getting up there in age. It's hard to...
No, I want him to be on every fucking movie.
I know, and AI is going to make that possible. Now he's going to be making a comeback.
He's going to be like that time that they brought Tupac onto that concert.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't like it very much, huh?
It's not my favorite. I don't know. It went really dark.
Oh, you don't like the dark of it.
Entertaining. I like horror, scary, or horror comedy, but like
you just don't like straight up horror.
I mean, what do you mean straight up horror?
Like you want it to have like comedy or
something? I don't know. I'm used to like the other Nightmare on Elm Street where there was comedy, like there was some scary stuff for the time. And this one, there was barely Freddy. And when he was there, he was very pedo, and rapey. And I did not, that was not my thing.
Pedo.
Yeah.
Pedo.
That was not, I was like, ew, this is making me feel uncomfortable for the wrong reasons.
Okay, so this movie, my initial thoughts are different. Is this the best one? No. I've got it ranked right off initially. So the first one, obviously, Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. And then I like Dream Warriors, Nightmare on Elm Street 3. And then I do like the fourth one a little bit. But as a series, people are going to shit on me. Go ahead. I'm not a big fan. These movies do not hold up. They're not great. So 1, 3, and 2010's remake for me, do it.
So your top 3?
Yes. And it's because, the reason being is I like the movies, right? And I like the kills. I like the dream sequences. They got creative throughout the years, but the stories weren't there. It lacked the storytelling of it, but it was creative with the dreams themselves.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I like this one. I seen this in the theater. It was fun back in the day. People were cheering. It was a good vibe to record. So It was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, this was my first time watching this.
Yeah.
I didn't know this existed.
Really?
No, I didn't.
That's so weird. I wonder what you were doing in 2010.
I had a 1-year-old.
Oh, so you weren't going to movies and stuff?
Busy. Yeah.
You could have been one of those parents that fucking took their kid to the movie theater.
You know what? We went to go watch. I went with a friend. She dragged me to see, I think it was like Saw 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
I had seen the first one
and
prior
you took
to
1-year-old Vienna?
No. Let me finish my story.
Okay. I'm about to call CPS, so tread lightly.
We showed up there and rated our movie, right? First one was pretty graphic. We showed up and there's this lady with her like 6-year-old sitting up front by the aisle, and I was just in shock at the time. I was like, what is this kid doing here?
Okay. So before you judge that person, I used to, in a previous life, in a previous relationship, there's this kid, part of my life, from 1 to about 7.
We are talking about your exes on the
So I took him to a movie rated R, and it was Overlord.
I don't know what Overlord is.
So it's a World War II movie, but it's got like monsters. It's a more scientific, like horror twist to it, but there's a lot of F-bombs, and there's a family next to me, like a guy and a girl, just looking at me like, you mother effer, why would you take a kid to this? And me, I'll just say his name, Dylan, was stoked, man. We were like cheering, we're laughing, we're having a good time.
How old was he?
Oh, dude, he was 5.
Oh.
5 or 6.
I don't know.
But again, some context, we didn't really like shelter him from that stuff. So like he was used to it. It was like, I don't want to say desensitized, but he was like, he got to watch stuff like that, but it didn't affect him. As long as it didn't affect him, like he was going to like school, acting the stuff out.
Kids in counseling right now.
Yeah. Watch, he's just counseling. But no, we did that.
I don't know. It was, I can't remember which one of the movies, but it was gory. They, how those movies are up in your face, cutting, guts coming out and everything.
I would never take a kid to Saw. No, I don't like that murder porn. I don't like that shit.
Yeah, it was open guts stuff, and I was like,
Hostel,
I
Saw.
was like, where is someone covering his face? This is like, there were times where I was like, ugh.
Yeah, no, that's too extreme for me. I don't know. I don't think that's right. and that you took a 1-year-old to is kind of effed
take her. Her first movie was Puss in Boots. We have to go support Antonio Banderas.
Puss in Boots. That didn't come out like very long ago.
This was a remake that just came out, or a sequel.
Oh.
She was like 3, 2.5.
Hot take, real quick.
3.
How do you feel about Zorro?
I like it.
Oh, you like Zorro? What do you like about Zorro?
And then was it Salma Hayek in there with him?
Mm-hmm.
No, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like about Antonio Banderas?
Are you kidding me? He was dreamy back in his days.
Whoa, dreamy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not dreamy now.
He's a gilf now.
What's the Sylvester Stallone movies? The Indestructible or
Exterminator ones or
The Expendables. Hey, he's in that one.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in one of them.
Oh.
Dreamy. Gilf.
Mm-hmm. Ask the peoples. Maria would agree.
Yeah, but she also likes Bruce Willis.
What's wrong with that?
No. Hey, real quick, Vienna, did you feed the dogs? Oh, okay. I do not starve the dogs.
They're on a restricted diet.
We're muting you out.
Yeah, how do you feel about Antonio Banderas? Dreamy, not dreamy, but does he make you feel things?
Dropped my paperwork. Antonio Banderas, yeah, I mean, he makes me feel things, yeah. Emotionally, I'm moved. He just charges something in me.
He charges?
Yep.
Is that Spanish accent, huh?
Yep. He makes me roll the R's the hardest.
They're not an R. Oh. They're more of a soft... Barcelona.
Okay, well, we're getting off track here with Zorro. Do you want to bring up Titanic too?
Shout out Kate Winslet.
Oh man, Leo. That's an interesting story. The movie that came out, well, it ties to this movie, 2010, that came out. I believe Inception was a big movie this year. That came out. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, Christopher Nolan directed it. That's pretty exciting. And then the biggest grossing movie of 2010, Toy Story 3. Was that the one where they're facing the incinerator?
I don't know.
And they're like, everybody's like, it was so sad.
They were burning them?
I'm like, dude, it's a
Is that the one with the teddy bear?
I think so. Oh. I don't know. I didn't watch it. I only watched the first one.
They're all great movies. They have
and I just remember soundtrack. Toy Story 2 was Run Like the Wind, Bullseye.
That was not the first one?
No, that was the second one.
Did you watch Buzz Lightyear? Just the movie?
Yeah, actually, me and Vienna did during the holidays.
No, not the new one. The OG. What? With the little Martians.
I don't know if I saw that.
Oh.
But anyways, Toy Story 3 grossed 1.6 billion worldwide. Isn't that crazy?
That's yeah.
So this movie, the 2010 remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, the budget, they got a modest budget for the times, $35 million. But the budget was bigger. If you remember, Nightmare on Elm Street was part of Platinum Dunes remakes, Michael Bay's production company. Mm-hmm. So this got the highest budget out of those, out of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th. I think there's one other one.
I saw it had the largest budget out of all the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Even those. Well. So, but I mean, 2010, the last Freddy movie that came out was Freddy vs. Jason, and that was 2003. So, I mean, that's a big difference. So, $35 million, pretty good budget. And this movie, despite what people are saying now, it got about 115.6 million worldwide and then 63 million domestically. So, it did a pretty good job. It was pretty successful considering all the hate it's getting now. It's kind of split. You got people in that feel my way, like they appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze.
Do it.
No, they got people that appreciate it, appreciate the remake, appreciate what they were trying to do. But then you got those people, I think it's just nostalgia, where they're like, oh, kind of like you. Oh, we want the funniness. We want this. It's not Robert Englund. They just can't get over that fact. And they didn't even give it a chance, I don't think, to be honest. So the fact that you gave it a chance is cool. You didn't find anything in it that you liked.
I mean, obviously the quality got a lot better. The scenes, the kills, a lot more clear. But I don't know. I guess I was just used to, I think it's more of like the old monsters that they had on, those 80s, 90s Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh.
Or I guess the way that he appeared in the dreams.
Oh, I gotcha. So yeah, a lot of people criticized the way he looked, and they went more of a realistic approach with a burn victim, where a lot of people didn't like that. But the thing is, they kind of made him more cartoonish in the previous ones, where he still had a nose. They went real, where if you've ever seen Bird Victims, they did a pretty good job. The only knock that I have on it is the 2010 CGI, at least who they hired for this, didn't do the best job. A lot of that CGI was a little bit behind. If you ask me, it kind of took me out. There's some scenes, and I'm sure we'll point them out as we go, but they could have done a lot better. And honestly, I think if they would have just went practical with his makeup, I think it would be a lot better, not having that CGI to help with the makeup.
Well,
I don't think it was as effective.
Yeah, I did see that they were trying to go realistic burn, but they also took away some of the realism a little bit, because they didn't want to turn people away and be disgusted by to make it look more realistically burnt. They went there, they almost got there, because they were saying that, a burn victim would have some of the whiteness to their face because their flesh is so anyways.
Yeah. No, and they could have went further. They really could have. But I think where they settled was pretty good. Before we get into the movie and discuss it more, did you find other movies that came out, other horror movies that came out in 2010? Because I've seen its pretty extensive list here that's pretty good.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that came out this year. You have The Reef, another shark movie, The Ward, Insidious, the beginning of them, The Crazies.
Oh, dude, have you ever seen that one? That's a remake. George A. Romero movie, but this one has Timothy Olyphant. I actually enjoy that. You've never seen this remake?
The Crazies? No.
Oh man, that one might be a Platinum Dunes. I could be wrong on that, but we got to watch that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
We also have The Last Exorcism, I Spit on Your Grave.
That one's a good one.
Atrocious. This was a Spanish movie. Which I have that on my list of wanting to watch. Piranha, a classic. I remember watching this one back in the day.
Oh, Piranha 3D.
Yeah, and then
that one's crazy. That's a horror comedy.
And then we have Frozen.
Devil's pretty good. Isn't that the one, the elevator? And that one, guess what? You can say it. Pineapple. That's our escape word for M. Night Shyamalan. They don't like when I get on the tangent. But from what I remember, I actually enjoyed some elements of it. Not all of it entirely, because he fucks up the movie at the end. Gosh. But that one, I'll give him credit for that one.
Give him credit. We also saw...
Splice was good.
Saw the final chapter. Paranormal Activity 2.
3D was coming in hard this year too.
And Black Swan.
Oh, Black Swan was pretty good. That was more of a psychological, wasn't it?
That movie is, yeah. Messy.
Hey, you're missing some Predators. That one was sick. Have you ever seen that? It's got Adrian Brody in it. It's got Machete.
Probably.
What's his name? Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
He's in it. It's pretty good.
Okay.
We'll have to watch. You've never seen that?
Maybe.
Predators, where they're on their planet, like they kidnap them and put all these people on this planet and they hunt them.
I feel like I watched a few of those, but they it's been a minute.
They don't blur because they're all kind of different.
They blur.
You got Arnold, and then you got Danny Glover in L.A. in number 2. They're all a little different, man.
I just remember the Predators.
Okay. My Soul to Take came out. That's another one, directed by Wes Craven. Frozen, a survival horror film. about 3 friends stranded on a ski lift.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that, but could be. Let Me In. Did you mention that one? Yeah, so there's a ton that came out. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Remember we tried watching it a little bit. It's okay. It's kind of dumb humor.
Yeah. Entertaining.
Yeah. But no, that was the movies that came out. Was there anything of note that year? You mentioned Saw. That had a big effect on you?
No, I don't. I did get around eventually to watching Paranormal 2, but I didn't think that was great.
Paranormal Activity 2? Is 4 the one with the girl from Abigail? Yes, Catherine Newton. She's in 4. I remember seeing that one in theaters.
Okay. I think the most memorable was the first one because people were freaking out over this movie.
I hate all of them. They all suck balls. Made on shoestring budget. I'm sorry. They were trying. You can't polish a turd. And these were fucking awful. I don't know how people enjoy them. They're not for me. I didn't like them. They're cheesy.
Once you see the first one,
it loses its effect.
The rest are kind of the same suit.
It's kind of like found footage. Once you watch it the first time, it loses its luster because how do you top it? You have to top it each time you watch it. Yeah. And you can only watch these movies once because like it doesn't have that effect on you again. Where other movies can still have that effect. Found footage, for whatever reason, at least for me, it does not have that effect on me. And then I'm like bored throughout the whole movie because I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just watching this kind of.
Just to watch
it's junk food. Yeah.
I think that was definitely a lot of stuff came out this year.
Yeah, no, for horror 2010 was making a huge. I feel like because we cover a lot of years, I felt like this year it was making not a comeback, but it came in strong. Mm-hmm. I think movies in general were coming in strong. Yeah, for 2010.
Like you said, 3D was starting to become a thing. Yeah. There was talks they were trying to push this movie to be 3D.
Well, after what was the blue people?
Oh, Avatar?
Yeah, after Avatar came in, that kind of pushed it. And then we rode that for a few years, that 3D. 3D comes around full circle about every 20 years. It comes back. And granted, it's better. Do you remember, have you ever watched a 3D TV? I feel bad for people who invested in those.
Oh my gosh. Remember when they were really pushing them in the stores? That's all, you would walk down and there was aisles of just 3D TVs.
They were fucking hawking that shit. And it was a ripoff because I had a buddy who bought one and he's like, dude, this is so tight. Let's watch this movie. I watched it and dude, I felt so bad. I didn't say anything to him. I'm like, oh, this is cool. But dude, it was the same. I'm like, there's nothing jumping out. This is not great. And then nothing ever really, they didn't add a lot to it either. Movies were coming out. It just kind of died off. So I feel bad for people who spent thousands of dollars on these TVs because they didn't last long.
So for me, it didn't get my attention. I liked going, if it happened to go watch a 3D movie at the theater.
But to pay extra, you still have to pay extra to watch that bullshit.
It was just never an interest to bring it home because you go and buy this TV, you will forever need fucking glasses. What if you have a bunch of people come over? Are you gonna have to order glasses for all of your guests to come over and watch a movie with you?
And then did the TVs you could adjust it back to 2D? What happened?
I have no idea.
I don't know too much enough about them, but I know my buddy was kind of at the end of it. He was like, dude, that was such a ripoff. I don't know why I bought this fucking TV.
Yeah, it just seemed like a lot of work and effort to watch a movie at home.
Yeah, he had a surround sound and everything. I'm like, dude, because he was serious about his movies, but I was like, I think you're premature on this one. Yeah. Usually with technology like that, I'm going to wait a couple years, let them work out the shit. And if it sticks, it sticks. It's going to be around for a while. Yeah. But he was one that spent the money when it first came out, was fucking on it.
Damn.
Yeah, I felt bad for him. But let's close that tab. We love 3D. How do you feel about the cast?
I only recognize 2 people from the cast.
You recognize 2 people from the cast?
I do. And I think that's another thing so for me that got in the middle of fully enjoying this movie. Mm-hmm. It was Jackie Earle Haley. When Watchmen came out, I loved that movie. I watched it so many times.
I liked it too.
I bought it. He's great in there.
Yeah, Rorschach.
And so watching it, that's all I heard. I just heard Rorschach through the entire movie. Every time he talked, I'm like, yep. And I could just picture him in that mask from Watchmen.
That one was good. That was a pretty good movie.
Which got him this role. Great role for him in Watchmen. And he did really good here too. But I don't know. I just couldn't get over his character in the other movie.
Yeah,
it was so memorable.
So from the research I was doing, he was pretty much... This movie, he was acting with like kind of hands tied behind his back because he couldn't really do a whole lot. They weren't letting him. They kind of confined him, and he couldn't really like do what he wanted to do from the sounds of it. Like he had to stick to certain things. They cut out a lot of things.
Yeah.
He couldn't improvise. Where I think Robert Englund, you got to give him credit. He improvised a lot of that. Like a lot of things he was talking about and that were kind of funny.
Yeah,
was him. And I don't think we can really fairly judge Jackie Earle Haley for his role on this because I don't think he got the opportunity like he should have, where I think he's a pretty good actor. I think he could have taken this to maybe not Robert Englund's status, but I think he could have took it to
added his own personal
flavor
take on,
because that's what it's begging for. There is no flavor whatsoever. They really dulled this character down and made him really dark, which is cool. But if you're going to do that, you got to let this guy at least have some sort of personality come through a little bit more. And that was just kind of unfortunate that he didn't get the opportunity.
Yeah, but besides him, actually I know 3 people that were memorable to me that I've seen him in other stuff. The other person was... Wait,
did you know Jackie Earle Haley was in the Bad News Bears in 1976? I didn't know he was a kid actor.
I did not know that.
Kelly Leak was his character, and I remember that movie, but I don't remember him.
Did you see that they also wanted Billy Bob Thornton and then Steve Buscemi consider for the Freddy role?
Ugly people. They're like, who are the ugliest actors? I'd be so pissed. They're like, who looks the closest to a burn victim?
Again, I feel like Steve Buscemi, I've known him as a comedic.
So he has had serious roles, more serious. Like, have you ever seen Con Air? He plays a pretty good weirdo in that.
I don't think that I have. I think most of the stuff I've seen him, it's been comedies with Adam Sandler.
Escape from New York, or Escape from LA, he's pretty lighthearted. And then, Adam Sandler movies. But, not the right fit. Who would be the right fit in 2010? I'm trying to think.
I don't know.
Who would be able to take it to the level? I think Kevin Bacon would have been okay.
Really?
Trying to do it, maybe.
I think...
You need like a serious character actor or a no-namer that doesn't give a fuck what he's doing.
That you don't like. Again, like me in my case, seeing him, I just kept thinking Rorschach. So maybe someone who wasn't well known. What did you call him?
Rorschach?
No, it's Rorschach.
Oh,
is it not?
I think it's Rorschach.
Look it up.
Because it's like Rorschach paintings. I could be wrong.
And then one thing that I saw that was...
Hold on, I'm going to Google.
Oh, you're going to Google?
2000. No, I'm in a 2010.
Rorschach. He was in The Long Game, Little Children, Watchmen, Shutter Island.
Rorschach.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Rorschach. Not Warshak.
Rorschach.
Roar.
Rorschach.
You're messing with me.
Oh my fucking God.
He was also in Dark Shadows. I remember him there. The driver for Johnny Depp. He played... Johnny was a vampire.
Oh, yeah.
RoboCop, The Tick.
Dude, you know an interesting actor would be? Sorry to cut you off. Are you still talking about Jackie Earle Haley?
Yeah, I'm going over his work.
So, an interesting one would be Bryan Cranston.
Let me see.
I think he could, from Breaking Bad.
I did not finish watching that show.
But you know the guy I'm talking about, right?
No.
Bryan Cranston, lead character who was making the meth, the teacher.
He was making... Oh, wait, Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Is that when they escaped prison? No.
What?
Prison Break.
Walter White, dude.
Walter White? Yes, I did watch Breaking Bad.
William Dafoe, he would have been a good one. Let's see, who else do we got? Paul Dano, although relatively young, I think he would have been decent. Sam Rockwell, maybe? Nah.
No.
I think he could improvise though.
He could improvise, but he's too well known in other things. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know who could have done it. Because a lot of these guys, you've got Woody Harrelson, Matthew McConaughey, Benedict Cumberbatch. Tom Hardy would have been an interesting one, maybe. I don't know. Paul Giamatti.
And then we have, I didn't know. I mean, I've only watched a couple episodes of Narcos Mexico. Mm-hmm. He was in there too. And then Alita Battle Angel. That was an interesting movie too.
Ooh, dude, Joaquin Phoenix might have been a good one.
I don't know.
They could have went fucking Al Pacino.
I think Jackie, he could have been good if they had given him more freedom to.
No, I think they're on the right track. I think they're on the right track with him. But yeah, they didn't give him the fair opportunity. But yeah, he has a lengthy career. He was in Shutter Island too. That was cool. Have you ever seen that one? With Scorsese?
With Leo.
Yeah.
And what's his name? He plays the Hulk.
Yeah, Ruffalo, Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, so I think they're on the right track with him. They just should have given him a little more freedom, a little more trust. Our lead actress here, Rooney Mara, I thought she did pretty good as Nancy. I forgot she was in this movie. Where I do recognize her is the girl with the dragon tattoo. She plays the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Okay.
The weirdo. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
It's got 007 in it. God, what's his name?
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
We're terrible. Oh my God. I apologize. Listeners, if you're hanging in there, guys, I think we have, what's that? Alzheimer's? We have something going on, man. Lou Gehrig's disease. I don't know what's happening to us. But no, she played good in that. And then other than that, she was in a movie called Her, A Ghost Story, and Carol is what I gathered.
Okay.
And then we have our Scream King. I'm going to label him that.
Scream King.
Scream King. Dude, he plays Quentin in this movie, Kyle Gallner. And if you remember the movie he was on previously that we covered, Jennifer's Body.
Yeah, that's where I recognized him from.
And he's in The Cleansing Hour. We watched that. He's in a couple other ones. So he's in The Haunting of Connecticut. I remember him in that. He was just getting started. He was young. He was in a movie I don't recognize, Dear White People.
The show or the movie?
The movie, I guess.
Okay. I watched the show.
Oh, maybe it's a show. I don't know. And then he's also an American Sniper, which that was with Bradley Cooper, I believe. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I didn't either. I was at one point on my watch list, but I didn't get around to.
But would you consider him a Scream King? I think he's pretty good. I like this guy.
I would. He was also in Scream.
What? Scream the TV show or what?
I think it was a TV show. He was also in Smile.
Ooh. I don't remember this.
And in Strange Darling, which looks like it was a TV show.
Hold on.
And he's going to be in Smile too.
Kyle Gallner was?
Yes.
What character?
In Smile.
Oh, fuck. He was in Smile.
He was Joel.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, he was in Smile. He's going to be in Smile too. He's also in a movie called The Passenger that came out last year. Roost. Let's see. Dinner in America. Yeah, he's done quite a bit of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Scream King. #
Ghosts of War. Oh, I guess. Was he in Scream 2022? I don't think he was.
No?
No, he was in Red Eye? Oh, man, I'm going to have to go back and revisit these movies. Because I like him as an actor. I think he's pretty good. Like, I know the movie. I give a movie a shot. When I see him in there, I'm like, okay. I trust that he picks decent movies to be in, like horror movies, because each one that I've seen, they've held up pretty good.
They also considered Taylor Lautner for this role.
Oh my God. Thank fucking God they didn't do the fucking Twilighter, dude. They already have the fucking Twilight guy in the beginning of the movie.
The other vampire guy?
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I like Kyle Gallner. I think he is a Scream King. He's right up in there. He's making a good name for himself in horror. Yeah, Other than that, I don't really recognize except the dude from Twilight, but Katie Cassidy, I don't recognize her. It looks like she's kind of TV, or I guess she was the girl in Taken. She was in Supernatural, which I've never seen that TV show. People love it.
I got really into it for a while.
You got into Supernatural? Why? I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by you people. Like, because when you do, no, hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out on this.
Okay.
So, like when someone brings up Supernatural and you're either don't know the show at all or you're obsessed with the show. Like I know the actor Paldecki, he was in Friday the 13th, House of Wax.
Sam and Dean.
Yeah, so why do you like this movie, or why do you like that show?
Some episodes are interesting. I like to see where they take and how they play with what a demon is and what the devil is. And look, they're more than just a fucking character that's gonna come and get you in the middle of the night. They have a personality. Whoa. They have fucking personal life. They have issues. They're trying to take souls and grow their thing. I like what they did with Castiel, the angel. One of God's angels.
Fallen angels, okay.
Because he's so, like, I don't know, they make him question his character, right? He's an angel. He's supposed to be 100% devoted to God. Mm-hmm. But when he starts hanging out with humans and all the shit that's going on in the world, he's like, wait, is God listening? And they're like, where the fuck is God? And
isn't that Lucifer?
No,
the show
Lucifer? No, Lucifer takes a whole rap with it too. But they really do question. You can see him, Castiel, having conflict with other angels because they start questioning like what God is telling him to do. And again, just playing.
And this is just episode 306.
I don't know.
But do you guys, do you hear this? This is what I'm talking about. Every time I hear someone talk about Supernatural, this is what happens.
I'm just telling you why I got into it for a bit.
Watch next week. I gotta announce we're no longer doing this. Angelus is doing a Supernatural podcast.
I'm gonna resume Supernatural. There's some seasons that were better. A lot of the times it was just background.
You watched all the seasons?
No, I haven't. I stopped.
Hey, that's your junk food. That's your comfort food. Like I said, my guilty pleasure right now: hash brown, white collar.
A lot of times I would play it because some episodes were not great. Some of them were interesting, and I would actually stop and pay attention to them.
It kind of reminds me, because I've seen bits and pieces, it kind of reminds me of what's Charmed.
Oh.
That kind of show. And I was like, this is cheesy. This is stupid. But I've never met a dude that likes Supernatural. It's always girls or women that like Supernatural.
I think I got,
and I get it. The guys are handsome.
Well, some seasons went really into demons and angels. But when I first started watching it they're hunting out creatures. And so every other episode they were encountering a new creature and hunt it down and figure out what it was killing and a little bit more about their.
So deep down, it was deep. It was deeper.
It's just junk food show.
I get it. Okay. Supernatural. Thank you.
Why did you ask me?
Katie Cassidy. She's in it. And then you have Thomas Decker, which actually I take that back. I know of him because he was in Heroes.
Did you watch Heroes?
I did. I watched a few episodes. I didn't get into it. Like, I'm sorry. TV shows aren't my main thing. It's movies that I like.
I watch all of Heroes.
Heroes was okay. I got season 1 and 2. After that, I just kind of got, it was boring.
I started and I just felt like I needed to watch it to finish it.
No, and there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know. I think it's my ADHD, but I can't invest. I end up stop watching seasons. I'll get deep too. I'll get into like season 3 or 4 of something and then just stop watching, and there's like 8 seasons.
He did a lot of voices for The Land Before Time.
Dude, Land Before Time, you ever seen that?
Yeah, he was in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I don't know those ones, but I remember the early ones.
The first couple ones.
Dude, I love Land Before Time.
Those movies were deep.
They were.
Yeah, sad.
Do you remember the movie Homeward Bound?
No.
You don't remember that?
Mm-mm.
Shadow? No?
Shadow? No.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. Another episode, guys. If you know Homeward Bound, you know what I'm talking about. And then you have Thomas Dekker, and then you have Kellen Lutz as Dean Russell, and this is the Twilight guy. He plays Emmett Cullen in Twilight, and he was in Immortals. Have you ever seen that one? That's pretty good. I think it was like a derivative of 300, or the people who made 300, I think, made Immortals. It had that kind of tinge, that film tinge. You know what I'm talking about? The way 300 looked?
Yeah.
It had that. So I could be wrong. And he was in The Expendables 3, and then also Tarzan.
What Men Want.
What?
He was also in a movie called What Men Want. And FBI's Most Wanted.
Yeah, and then, so we have more actors here. Clancy Brown. I remember him in Shawshank Redemption, but also Highlander's another big one, Starship Troopers. But what I mainly remember this guy in is Pet Sematary 2. He plays either a sheriff or a cop. We'll have to watch that. Have you ever seen that? It's got the kid from Terminator 2.
I don't think so.
Oh man, that's a good one. So we'll have to watch that. But I like Clancy Brown. He plays the school counselor, I think, in this one. Kyle Gallner's dad.
Okay.
And then you have Connie Britton, Dr. Gwen Holbrook. She's Friday Night Lights, American Horror Story.
Yes.
Isn't she pregnant in the first season of that?
Well, she gets knocked out by a demon.
Dude, isn't that wild?
Yeah, I liked her in that season. The first season, she played Vivian. And then...
Ooh, Viv.
She was also in Dirty John in the first season.
Dirty John was good too.
Do you remember her?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy show.
I like that.
Seeking Friends for the End of the World. Beatriz at Dinner. Salma Hayek was in that one. Promising Young Woman. She had a small role in that movie. The White Lotus. Luckiest Girl Alive. Dear Edward. Winner. I don't know that I've seen that. It looks like she's done a lot of TV.
Yeah. And then after that, then you have Leah D. Mortison, Juliana Dam, Kristen Stolite, Katie Shooping Knight. I think that kind of rounds out the cast. So you felt pretty good about the cast? Did you like it?
I feel like some characters were more developed than others.
Okay, so this movie, I think characters were not developed very good.
Okay.
I think we could have got a little bit more in depth with them. I think that's what the 1984 one does really well, is character development. And a couple of the ones in the 80s did pretty good. But this one, it was more, you can tell it was sped up.
Yeah.
They chopped it out. A lot of it can be contributed to our next topic is the director. A lot of it can be contributed to that because Samuel Baer, he's a legend in music and directing those movies. Yeah, he's a legend in that, but he made his film debut with this, and this is the only movie he has ever directed.
And he didn't want to do it to begin with.
Yeah, which we'll get into more. I'm fascinated to hear about. My thing is, he tried it, and honestly, I don't think it's bad for a first movie.
No.
This movie could have been a lot worse. And I think he did a pretty damn good job for having a first movie, having the budget it had. He had a lot of pressure on him to produce something. And he did because it was successful. So I think he did a pretty good job. I'm not going to be harsh on him like I have been on other people.
On him.
Yeah, because It Follows. I'm sorry, people, guys. I will apologize. Maybe I went a little too hard on him. But again, I'm not against that guy either. But that was more of a lazy direction, lazy writing. This one, I think, went over the top. He pushed too much on one area where he lacked kind of guidance to make it a little more funny. Michael Bay, I think, had a little more to contribute to that, a darker tone. So I don't think he had enough pull either to do what he wanted to do. I think he could have done this better, like Jackie Earle Haley, if he had a little bit more control. I don't think he did. Anyways, what did you have on him?
On the director? Is that where we're going with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, amazing photography, tons. Do
you have his notable music video work?
I have some of it. I went down the rabbit hole and I was like, holy smokes.
Yeah, I've found a few. You probably have them too, but his big ones.
I have a list.
Yeah, okay, go through them.
Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Ozzy Osbourne, Mama, I'm Coming Home.
Ooh-wee.
Iron Maiden, Wasting Love. Ramones, Poison Heart. Hole, Doll Parts.
Fuck yeah.
For Marilyn Manson, he did a few songs. Aerosmith, Pearl Jam.
Wait, which Aerosmith song? Love on the
Sunshine.
Elevator. Oh.
Sunshine.
Oh.
Pearl Jam. He did Quick Escape, The Offsprings, This Is Not Utopia, The Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay, do you know the music, the songs?
Do you want me to tell you the songs?
Yeah, let's do the songs.
The Smashing Pumpkins, he did Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
Damn, a heavy one. That's our best song.
For Marilyn Manson, he did Rock Is Dead, Comma White and Disposable Teens.
Mm-hmm.
And then David Bowie. He did The Heart's Filthy Lesson and Strangers When We Meet. For Metallica, he did
Until It
Sleeps. The Rolling Stones, he did Anybody Seen My Baby.
Oh man, we haven't even scratched the surface though.
LL Cool J, he did Father. Blink 182, Stay Together for the Kids.
Yeah.
Green Day, he did a lot for Green Day.
Dude, Green Day. So 2004 was huge for Green Day. Huge for him.
He did American Idiot, Boulevard of Broken Heart, Broken Dreams, Holiday, Wake Me Up When September Ends, Jesus of Suburbia, Bullet in a Bible.
Dude, 2004, that album was like my gospel.
I know. I was like, I know all of this songs.
Dude, okay, but you're not even, you skipped over some things,
Michael Jackson, A Place With No Name, Maroon 5, Animals. That's a little more recent.
Yeah, but you're missing some big ones, dude. Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses. He did that.
I was trying not to listen. I was like, this is a lot.
Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's another one. Zombie by the Cranberries. Oh my God. This guy was fucking killing it. He's a legend.
He's had his solo exhibition of photography. And then, just a ton. My Chemical Romance, Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. He's still killing it too till this day.
Yeah. And then he's done a lot of commercials. So when I looked him up, actually, it took me directly to his website.
Yeah.
He has all his collection there of like commercials too, like Super Bowl, Pepsi, Coca-Cola. And that's where I was like, whoa, the photography.
Yeah. And that's one thing about this movie he does really well. So yeah, no, in the background, so he's from New York, Syracuse, and then he was born February 17th, 1962. But yeah, this is kind of the balls on this guy taking a remake of such a classic movie. I know Wes Craven has been noted. He was upset about it. He's like, dude, they didn't even consult me about this movie, which is kind of, dude, that is kind of shitty, dude. Wes Craven's still alive at this point. He's making, I believe, 2011, he made Scream 4. Mm-hmm. Why not bring him in and give you guidance on giving some levity to it too, where they could have got a perspective on this. This is where I think they got a little egotistical and like, fuck you, old man, this is our thing, when really they should have brought him in for a little bit of guidance, because the dude knows how to fucking shoot a movie. I mean, he's done all this work. He created this character.
Yeah, I feel like that's where, at
least talk to him.
Samuel going in there and having to fill into this huge shoes that Wes Craven already had. Freddy already has a history. People know him.
Well,
he's
dude,
a character.
At this point, he has canon. Like, people write stuff about it, and it gets into the lore. Like, all this history. Wes Craven, when he started, he didn't make it that deep. The character, like, it wasn't. This movie really touched on the canon of he was a child molester. He killed kids. Mm-hmm. This really emphasized it, where he didn't kill kids, I don't think, but he molested the kids. Wes Craven didn't touch that. He purposely left it as left to you to imagine he did something bad.
Yeah, that's what I saw, that back at, 84 when the first one was made, they didn't want to like push that on people.
Yeah.
So they just let it be a serial killer character.
Yeah.
That was the original story.
Left to your own imagination kind of thing. And that's where it took off the child molestation and all that. People created that, and that just became part of the canon of Freddy Krueger. They didn't deny it either. So like they added to it just to, drum up popularity and the character. Yeah.
Well,
because that's growing up. That's what we knew. Like, we're like, oh, this motherfucker's a chimo. He's a piece of shit. I didn't know
that was news to me watching this.
Really?
I was like, it had been a long time since I had watched these movies. And you know that I spent the last week just kind of going over them, and I was like, what the hell did I miss?
Yeah, no, he's a chimo.
And yeah, the first, like, I think right now I'm on number 3, and then of course this, and I haven't seen hints of him being a chimo in those first 3 movies.
Well, because they don't. At this point, it gets behind. It's done. Now, Freddy is a legend. It is who he is. Now people show up to see that. And that's why those movies get weak, is because it's all just like typical horror fashion, slasher fashion. They know what the audience wants. They get to it.
Yeah.
Which can be good, but also terrible. This movie, too, do you have any more on the director?
No, just, yeah, that was his first movie, and he was like, done. I'm not doing movies anymore. And he went back to music videos and commercials.
Which I'm kind of bummed, because I don't think he did terrible. I think he could have done some good work. But if that's not your thing,
yeah,
totally understandable. Now,
the writer?
Yeah, well, the writers, there's multiple. So we have, the first one that I have is Wesley Strick. Mm-hmm. So he's an American screenwriter and author known for his work on a variety of films, particularly in thriller and horror genres. He was born in February 11th, 1954 in New York. And so films, and we've covered this one, Arachnophobia. Mm-hmm. He covered that one. He did Cape Fear, Wolf with Jack Nicholson. I love that movie. The Saint, Doom, the Rock movie. Have you ever seen Doom? It's based off the video game.
If it's a video game, no.
It's a shitty fucking movie, and it sucks, but we should watch that. It's part of it. And then Nightmare on Elm Street he did, and then Love is Strange, a romantic drama. So that just threw it in there. Novels. Strick has also authored several novels, including Out There in the Dark and Whirlybird. Do you know any of this?
Nope.
So the only movies you watched is Arachnophobia and Nightmare on Elm Street?
I think maybe Cape Fear, and then...
with our boy, Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro.
And then I don't know that I watched... He did Batman Returns, the 1992, so I don't know that I watched that.
Oh, dude, he wrote on that?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then The Man in High Castle.
Oh, yeah, the Hulu series. Cool. And then the second writer, do you have anything else on Strick?
No, don't.
And then the second one I have is Eric Hyasier.
I don't know. This is my second language.
Yeah. So he is an American screenwriter, director, and producer known for his work in the horror and science fiction genres. Again, he was born in June 13th, 1970 in Norman, Oklahoma. He has a little bit more, you probably know these movies a little bit more. Final Destination 5. Mm-hmm. The Thing. I love the remake, by the way. Have you seen the remake of that? The Thing? I love both.
I think so.
I love both movies. People kick my ass for it.
Bird Box.
Hours, Lights Out, Arrival, Bird Box, like you said, Extinction, and Bloodshot. And that's a super movie. I remember seeing that with Vin Diesel. Mm-hmm. Terrible. That movie sucked. But I'm not a big Vin Diesel fan either.
Oh, you're not?
Hey, hot topic here, or hot take. Fast and the Furious sucks. I hate those movies so much. I've only seen 2.
That's it. Yeah. I think that's kind of where I am, 2 or 3.
Yeah, I don't like those movies. Do you like any of them? I hate them.
The first 2, and then they just keep pushing and pushing with the
second one. The second one with Tyrese, I like.
Like, what's her name? Michelle Rodriguez. She dies, and then they bring her back, and I'm like, what are you guys doing?
It's a drama. I hate that. It's a money grab. I fucking hate that. But no, yeah. So he collaborated on this to make the story. That's the writers. Do you have any take on the writers? Do you have any complaints? Any praise?
No. I did see again with Eric Heiser. He was a creator, head writer, showrunner, and executive producer of Shadow and Bone, which I heard fuzz about it on, I think it's on Netflix, right?
Is it pretty good?
I have not watched it. I know a lot of people did.
So I think we've watched a trailer on it and we've been meaning to watch it. We just forgot to.
Shadow and Bone?
Yeah.
The story is an adaptation of the Grisha trilogy and Six of Crows duology. He also co-wrote in Conjuring 2. And he has written in like documentaries one of them was called Liking What You See, and the other one was The Story of Your Life, which I don't know that I've heard of them before or what they're about.
The Story of Your Life?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Cool. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's all that I had on the writers.
Cool. Any thoughts, opinions?
No. Cool stuff, man.
All right, cool. Participation, I like it.
Stupid. Well, I had the same stuff you had written down.
Babe, it's cool.
Whatever.
And then do we want to talk about our boy Michael Bay?
I didn't have anything on Michael Bay.
So this bastard, his influence. Okay, so his creative oversight, he offered input on the film's direction similar to the Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He had heavily influenced the direction, the script, the casting, and overall vision. While the director and writers primarily shape the story and the execution, producers like Bay can significantly influence the major creative decisions. Mm-hmm. And in this case, that's what happened.
I did see.
So where I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 and Friday the 13th 2009, this one he should have backed off a little bit. You had two heavy writers in horror.
Yeah.
They could have carried you, bud.
I think it was Wesley that I saw. He had left some comments saying that sometimes he would show up to production and they were shooting scenes that he had not written. And he's like, where is this coming from?
So that's what I'm talking about. Like, dude, Michael Bay, bro, if you're going to produce it, man. Yeah. But stay the fuck out of it. Like,
out of directing it?
Yeah. Like, come on, man. You made this worse. Like, it had so much potential to be great. And it just kind of, it's like middle of the road. Mm-hmm. Where I like it, it's just kind of middle of the world. These are the movies he redid. I found it. I knew I noted it. So I already mentioned Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, but he also did Platinum Dunes did Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one. And The Hitcher. I haven't seen the remake, but we watched the 80s version.
I like that one.
Dude, that one was fucking wild.
Yeah.
She gets pulled apart. I wish it would have showed that.
Oh, that would have been fucking cool.
Man.
I like the character. What was his name? The main character.
Oh, fuck. I can't remember.
He was good. He was creepy. He just fucking kept coming hard.
Fuck, dude. He did. The Hitcher 1986 was fucking awesome.
Watch it if you haven't.
Yeah.
It's a good thrill.
We might have to watch the 2007 one. I wonder if it's any good. I know Amityville Horror is pretty good. I like that remake. But yeah, anyways, before we get to the plot, do you want to take a quick break?
Yippity-yay.
Yippity-yay. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
No.
All right. We'll be right back. Hey listeners, ever find yourself fighting to stay awake because you know Freddy Krueger is lurking in your dreams?
Well, say goodbye to sleep and hello to Sinister Brew Coffee, the perfect solution for staying awake and avoiding those nightmare visits from Freddy.
Sinister Brew isn't your ordinary cup of joe either. It's crafted with the finest beans and a hint of dark magic to keep you alert and on your toes.
Sinister Brew offers flavors that are out of this world, from the rich and bold Jack Dark Roast to the smooth Griffin's Ghastly Vanilla. There's a perfect creature for everyone.
Just one sip of Sinister Brew and you'll be saying, "Not tonight, Freddy." You'll be wide awake and ready to face anything, except maybe those overdue work emails on Monday.
Need to binge watch horror movies, pull an all-nighter for that project, or just avoid a certain dream stalker? Sinister Brew has got you covered.
Visit sinisterbrewcoffee.com for your first order, because in the battle against sleep, you need the best defense.
Sinister Brew Coffee, keeping Freddy at bay, one cup at a time.
All right, and we're back. How was your break?
It was splendid.
I love it. So we spent our break, not going to lie, we were cutting our commercial. We want to do a disclosure. Our last pod episode, we had an ad. That one was fake.
What? I went online.
Supernatural proof prophylactic is not a thing, guys. But this new commercial, it is real, in fact. It's Sinister Brew Coffee. Check them out if you haven't. We ordered them. What flavors did we order? They're incredible.
Okay, guys. Even if you're not a big coffee person yourself, I know you know someone in your life who likes coffee. They also have decaf. Their packaging is super amazing. You get all kinds of goodies. And this last time we ordered Krampus's eggnog flavor.
Yeah.
They have the coolest designs on their labels and their coffee. And then we also got the Gillies salted caramel coffee.
Which is bomb. But yeah, we've already endorsed them on the commercial. We won't get too much more into it. But we just wanted to specify it is a real brand. Check them out. They're amazing.
Yes.
And thank you for the support, guys. But getting into it, did you have a chance? I know you're busy and stressed out this week. Did you have a chance to write a plot? Because I wrote 2 versions of my plot.
You wrote 2 versions?
Yes. I was tired of getting left in your dust with your
what the hell?
funny plots. I wrote a more serious one. And then I wrote maybe a little more lighthearted one.
Let's start with your serious one.
No, let's hear yours first.
Why? No,
I like to go
cheating.
last. I like to go last.
Because then are you gonna let us listen to both of them?
Yes.
Oh. Lame. We could go 1, 1, 1, 1.
Fine. Okay. I'll go with the first plot.
Okay.
2010 remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. This modern reimagining of a classic horror tale follows a group of teenagers who are haunted by a terrifying dream. As they delve deeper into their shared nightmare, they uncover a dark secret that binds them all. With time running out, they must confront their worst fears and the sinister figure lurking in their dreams. That's my serious one.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
My turn. Okay. Longtime friend teenagers begin to have similar nightmares in which a burnt man with a razor glove hand terrorizes them and tries to kill them. The teens soon realize these nightmares may not just be dreams after all, and realize they must fight their micronaps with coffee and generic Adderall in order to defeat the revengeful pedophile killer with a weird fetish for schoolgirl dresses. Hashtag to catch a dream predator.
Interesting. Okay.
You look disappointed.
They weren't longtime friends. I'm just saying, as a whole. They
forgot
it. Exactly.
But they were friends.
Okay, here's my one. Take a trip down Elm Street with the 2010 remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. Imagine this, a group of sleep-deprived teenagers who think pulling an all-nighter for exam is tough, but little do they know Freddy Krueger has other plans. Our hero Nancy and her friends start having nightmares, featuring a burn victim with a fashion-forward choice of finger knives. Instead of worrying about prom dates, they're busy figuring out why Freddy seems to have a personal vendetta against their beauty sleep.
Oh, beautiful.
Bow, bow.
You feeling good about that?
I do. I feel pretty good. How do you feel about him?
I like him.
Hey, man, I put a lot of effort in that. God damn it.
Well, I'm saying I like it. I like that you overthought it and you came up with 2 plots, not one.
I'm like, dude, I'm tired of getting burned in the, everybody's like, oh, Angelus is way better. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
I just was I always paste a copy of the formal plot that they have.
You're always trying to one-up me. It's not cool.
And kidding. I was like, how do I, Angeles, see the plot? This is how shit went down.
No, this is pretty good. I like it. Hey, I think we do a pretty good job on the plots. Mm-hmm. Do you want to get in scene for scene now?
Let's get in the sheets of the scenes.
Hey, first off, I want to start. You die in your sleep. You die for real.
Mm-hmm. Ain't that right?
I love that they brought that quote back in this movie. I think it's Tommy Decker who says it, the guy that goes to jail.
Oh, okay.
Die in your sleep. You die for real.
For real life?
So the opening scene is we got Dean Russell, the Twilight guy. He falls asleep at the diner, and he's the one to first encounter Freddy. Is this where the opening scene, it shows it's a dream-like state, right? And he walks, and he wants the waitress, he's trying to flag her down, and she walks by him. He's like, God damn it. And then he walks into the kitchen area, and then it's weird. They have, I don't know why they chose this aesthetic, but pigs, like pig heads. Do you know the reason behind that? I don't understand. Does that make that creepier? I didn't get that part of the movie.
No, I didn't find why pigs in specific. I think they were just trying to be creepy, like you said.
I guess it's okay. But it was a little bit creepy because you do see the classic, his hand comes down and you hear the shing, his knife hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy, what's he do? He's like, who does he ask who he is or why are you doing this?
Well, no, there's not much. Like you know, if you have seen these movies before, you know, Freddy's coming, he's going to pop out of somewhere. But no, he's just kind of following the waitress.
Yeah, but then the guy, when he gets back there, though, then the guy, like, Freddy Krueger, he doesn't say anything then. He just slashes his hand.
Yeah.
He wakes up.
Yeah, he just turns and Freddy goes to slap him. And then, yeah, he comes to awake. And Nancy apparently works here as a waitress.
Yeah, and she's telling him, hey, man, you can't sleep here. We're going to have to kick you out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. Clearly, he's super sleep deprived. His eyes are baggy. A lot going on there. And so she takes his plate, and there's blood. It was super bloody steak, it looked like, but it was his hand. And then he looks down, and there's blood on the table, and he sees the gash that Freddy put on there.
Yeah, again, it becomes real.
So this is kind of the funny part because then Chris comes in and she's another female character in this. She comes in and talks to Dean and clearly, I don't know why, there's problems going on. She knows him. I'm not clear if they're boyfriend girlfriend at this point or what, but she has an active interest because she's talking to him and is clearly concerned. He tells her and divulges, kind of paints the picture why Freddy's here and why all of a sudden he's here in their dreams. He's saying he had trauma. He went to a therapist and they're bringing back childhood things because they think it's deep-rooted trauma. Mm-hmm. And obviously it was for Dean. And that's what made Freddy Krueger come back. They remembered him.
Yeah.
So what I gather, and in previous Nightmare on Elm Street, it's the kids got to remember him for him to be alive, for him to like haunt them in their dreams.
Yeah, and he makes it clear down the road. At one point, he does say that you guys started remembering me. That's why I'm back.
Yeah. So
like,
you can thank BetterHelp for screwing these kids over. Okay.
They fucking make him remember. A fun fact about Freddy and his hand and the glove. Yeah. Apparently, the gloves were the most protected prop on the set because really? In the previous films, they had issues with staffing and just gloves being stolen.
Seriously?
Yeah, this movie and in other movies as well. I have that the most notorious was a glove from one of the film Evil Dead 2. There was another glove in that movie too, that one missing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently people like to say props.
I'm trying to think an evil... Well, yeah, I would too. Come on. But after the fact, why wouldn't steal it during it?
Oh, yeah, when they're done.
So that kind of makes sense with this glove because it's so iconic.
Yeah.
So people geeking out, especially as Nightmare on Elm Street continued.
I probably would have stolen one too.
I know. Ooh. I would have got a pair. I'm like, whooshing, I'd be walking around.
Oh, fuck.
So no, and then... So Dean's kind of there. She's talking about it. And then she ends up going to find help or something because of his hand. Or no, he spills the coffee because he freaks out. He's like, this is real. And then he freaks out and spills the coffee. So she goes and finds something to clean up. At this point, he spins a knife and he falls asleep. He's so sleep deprived. He ends up just falling asleep. And then Freddy comes back, obviously, and has him he grabs him from behind. Is that what happens?
Freddy grabs a knife. He does his little cackle.
Yeah. Well, Freddy doesn't grab a knife. He has his hand.
Oh, his hand. He cackled. Yeah, he comes from behind, and Dean's trying to wake himself up, and he's like, you're not real, you're not real. And he's like, I am now. And then Chris comes back, and all she's seeing from her end is just Dean with a knife up to his neck. Yeah. And she's freaking out, like, what the hell are you doing?
Well, clearly, and it looks like he's doing it himself.
Yeah, and it just does the motion.
Which I thought this was really good. I thought it looked good. Yeah. How about you?
I liked it.
It was pretty good. Getting that effect of him slicing his own throat was amazing. Oh, my God. For some reason, so I haven't seen this movie. The last time I seen this movie, it was the first time was in theaters when it came out, and that was the only time. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I had it in my mind that his shirt got ripped off, and then like Freddy wrote something like "I'm back, bitch." But I think that was in a previous like movie or something. But
or theatrical release.
I just remembered that, but now when I think about it, it was the throat cut. But for some reason, I just thought his shirt got ripped off, and then Freddy wrote something to the kids, but he didn't.
I think it was a different.
Yeah, that was a different movie for sure. That happened at some point. I just forgot which one.
At the restaurant, you also get introduced to Quentin. He's there with some friends at another table.
Well, and what's the other kid? The asshole kid. His real name's Tommy Decker, I think.
I can't. Jesse?
Yeah, Jesse. And then there's a third kid. Has nothing to do with it. He's just a.
No, yeah, but they're joking. Apparently, they know that Quentin likes Nancy.
Yeah.
And she comes over, and they're like, "Are you going to ask her?" And she comes over, taking their order, and then Jesse is Chris's ex, is what you get from this scene.
Well, Quentin's like, "Hey, man, she's with Dean."
Yeah, and he says that they recently broke up, and he's upset that they're hanging out, not knowing what's going on. So they get up to leave, and Quentin stays behind. And Quentin asks Nancy, he's like, "Don't you ever get tired of working here every weekend?" And she's like, "Well, don't you get tired of coming here every weekend?"
Yeah. So they have a little exchange. They like each other. And they end up leaving, and Nancy goes off and does her own thing.
Yeah, Dean dies, and then you get the classic
nightmare intro.
The slashy title.
Yeah. And then, so the next scene at this point is Dean's funeral, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is where you see every character that's going to be in this movie, pretty much.
Yeah.
And Chris is sitting there. She's devastated. Obviously, she just seen Dean slice his own throat.
Yeah.
Is kind of in a state of like shock still. But she ends up, I didn't realize this, she ends up falling asleep.
Oh, there.
Yeah, she dozes off, and then she sees herself as a little girl with
the blue dress.
With gashes down the front of it, like slices from the scissor hands or whatever. What do you call that glove? Just knife glove?
Knife, I think.
Yeah, because he made it himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then the girl is by the hole in the ground where they're going to lay Dean to rest, and Freddy's hand comes out and grabs the leg, and that's when she wakes up.
Yeah. Yeah, freaks herself up, wakes up, and then everybody just kind of starts walking away. They're getting ready to leave this funeral. The counselor approaches to Nancy and her mom.
Yeah.
Dr. Holbrook, and he's like, "Hey, if you guys need services,
yeah,
I'm
long
right
time no
here."
see, which is weird. This is what I don't get: is it a small town or is it a moderate town? Because they make it seem like the whole town is there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I got the feeling of a small town.
Yeah, because then he's like, "Long time no see," but you'd think they'd see each other all the time. I mean, your kids go to school together; they know each other really well. Clearly these people have a past. Maybe they don't talk because of what happened, but they kind of mingle a little bit.
Then Chris walks over and they have that, what do you call it? Not a poster, but they just have all like pictures of Dean.
Yeah, so when someone dies, they have like pictures of them pretty much throughout their lives. Pictures of him specifically as a kid. Obviously he's only like 19, 20 in this movie, 18.
Yeah.
So they have pictures as a kid. Well, they have a picture they brought out and she's in it. Chris is in it. And she's like, "What? I didn't meet Dean till high school. Why am I in this picture?"
Yeah. And even Jesse says the same thing. He's like, "I didn't know you'd need Dean for that long." And then this is where
Nancy rolls up.
Chris is like, "Yeah, because she was the last one to have a conversation with Dean." And she's like, "He just kept saying something over and over that was weird.
You're not real
over and over." And Jesse's like, "Well, he was in a lot of medications."
Yeah, a truckload of medication.
Yeah, but she's like, "I don't know. It just looked like someone was making him do it the way he was holding the knife." She's like, "But there was like no one there."
And Jesse's being dismissive, but Nancy rolls up. She's like, and because Chris is like, she's starting to see it. And she's like, "I'm believing him." And Nancy's like, "I believe you. I've seen it too." And then Jesse's like, "Hey, man, back the fuck off."
Yeah.
She's in distress. She's seen it. You didn't see shit.
Asshole.
Yeah, like he's just a prick. But I wish and we'll get into a little bit more in the movie, Jesse, they could have made him even more of an asshole, and they did it. They
left him.
They throttled back on it. I feel like they could have done a little bit more to make you hate him a little bit more, because he's clearly an asshole.
Yeah.
But they kind of stop at that funeral part, because then he does later. We'll hit the scene, but he comes over. But so after this point,
you see
they're
Nancy's
all,
house.
Yeah.
She's in bed listening to music.
This is where she gets her first, we see her first encounter that we see on film.
Yeah.
Of Freddy and her interaction.
And then you get this visual. She's falling asleep, falls into dream state, and then you see the wallpaper kind of warp and start moving just from the angle in the camera that they have. And then you kind of start seeing Freddy's face just kind of come out. You can see the outline of his face. And it looks like he's about to get her, and then she wakes up.
Yeah, so the funny part of this, I was reading multiple spots that this was a practical effect.
No way.
Bull fucking shit. It was not. Now, I know this effect is real. They probably did have a mesh screen that, like, he pushed on to do it, but they fucking CGI'd the fuck out of that practical effect.
Oh, yeah.
But, man, they're trying to push it like that was all practical effect. That's fucking bullshit. That is not, because you can kind of see the digital wallpaper. It's totally fake. It glistens and shit.
The way that it runs, it's so smooth and seamless.
It's CGI, which I don't care, but don't try to fucking bullshit a bullshitter, bro. Yeah, I'm like, dude, no. I can spot practical effects, because, like, we watch these 80s movies. Those are all practical effects. Really good and really well done. This, you can compare CGI. Let's be real.
I saw something we can talk a little bit more about later. They tried to say the same thing about his face, that it was all makeup.
And it's so frustrating, because it's like, dude, you're lying to me, to my face. Like, clearly he did have makeup on, but you CGI'd the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what it would have looked like without that CGI. I think they could have done a better job, and it probably looked pretty good without CGI.
I would love to see a picture of that, because even Jackie said that at first it was taking 6 hours to sit down and do the makeup. And then as they started doing it more and more, it cut down to 3 hours. Well, what does that look like?
Well, yeah, they're like, we'll just CGI this. That's what kind of... So that, I think, is what derailed this movie. Little things like that, where the detail, they started dialing back. And we're in that era of CGI. Yes, we're in that era, 2010. You know, we start seeing it really bad, 2005 and onward, where we start seeing the CGI going hardcore, where we had it from Jurassic Park. And it was ramping up, but you really see it from 2005 on, and it gets better over time. Don't get me wrong, but 2010, we weren't quite there yet.
It was the auto-tune to music.
yeah. Where you had Transformers, Michael Bay, CGI, not bad. I could live with it.
I get it. They're fictional robots, cars.
Which Freddy Krueger's fictional, right? But
there's a person behind it.
You can't give them the same sheen as a Transformer. You know what I mean? Like, they hired the same company, I think, to do it. I don't know. I'm just saying from what I'm seeing, that it just didn't work right. The CGI didn't work right. I think they could have done better if they were going that route, which I don't think they should have. But yeah, so that's her first experience. That freaks her out, obviously. What happens next?
You go to Chris's house. She's still not letting shit go, because everybody's telling her it's a dream, let it go, because she was telling the exact same thing to Dean before he died, but now she's seeing things. And
she's going through photos. And her mom's like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, and she's trying to say, hey, pack that shit up. Time for dinner. And trying to move it on.
Yeah, she's like, where's all my childhood pictures? Like, they're not in this album here. She's like, at the funeral, I saw a picture of me.
And she's like, oh, those old things? I think they're in the attic.
Yeah, and she was like, it looked like I was 5. And the mom, totally, who would remember being 5? Yeah. And pushing the...
Let's be honest, do you remember being 5? I don't.
I do. I had an adorable uniform. I do.
I don't. I remember bits and pieces. I remember this kid in kindergarten who I think his name was Chris. He in the bathroom. I thought it was always weird. He peed with his pants all the way down at the urinal. I'm like, what the fuck? You're doing it wrong.
He was learning still.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you're doing it wrong, and you never figured it out. It was like half the school year. I'm like, bro.
I remember again, like there was one kindergarten in the entire town where I lived.
Yeah.
And it was completely opposite side of town where I lived. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of on the outskirts of the town. So we had to walk. I had to walk from one end of the town all the way to the other end of the town to go to kindergarten.
Yeah.
And at first, at the start of the school year, like my mom would walk me.
Yeah.
And after that, it just
she got tired of it.
It became a thing to where I would walk to school, and on the way, like, you would meet other little kids and then just kind of make it. It was a little creepy at times.
Yeah.
Depending on the season. Like I said, it's kind of on the outskirts because you would get to the kindergarten, you had your campus of the school.
Right.
And then on one end, it was like a few houses, not a lot. But on the back end of it, it was just woods, and that was it. There was no houses back there or nothing.
Ooh, creepy.
So we would tell creepy stories back there. Like, did you know there's a cemetery under the kindergarten?
You guys are wild. Dark.
Megan, shut up.
Dark, man.
But yeah, we had to wear a uniform for school. I just remember bits and pieces of teachers. They did a sleepover at the school one time.
Nice.
I didn't get to go, but I did get to go back on Monday, and someone had a pee-pee accident. So that was like, everybody was laughing about that because someone left their pee underwear there.
It's fucked up. You guys are fucked up,
Why?
man.
We didn't know who did it. We just found the underwear in the cafeteria.
I got a question. Everybody had one. Who was the stinky kid in your class?
I don't know. I don't remember.
You don't remember the stinky kid? I can't remember his name. It's driving me nuts. We had one.
You can call him out by name.
I know. And I felt so bad every year. I had him in my class until like 5th grade. And that poor kid stunk, dude. He was the stinky kid for like, it had to have been a record.
We didn't have stinky kids. We had a kid whose family couldn't afford to buy his uniform. So he would have like the shirt that was the colors of the school.
Yeah.
But this poor kid, sometimes he would actually show up with the pants that went to the uniform, sometimes shorts, and sometimes other stuff.
Yeah.
Just because he only had one pair of pants, it seemed like.
Dude, that sucks.
Yeah.
And you guys made fun of him
we
relentlessly.
didn't.
That's
I
fucked
didn't.
up, dude.
I feel bad for him because I've told you stories of like our lunchtime at times.
Yeah.
He was the kid that would wait and his mom would never show up to bring him lunch.
Fuck. Wait, your parents had to show up to give lunch?
They had lunch at school, but it was not free. You had to pay for it. So it was cheaper for your parents to make you lunch and bring you lunch to school.
They'd bring it to you, though?
They'd bring it.
Lunch bags, pack it?
Lunch bags were expensive, and they were not a thing where only the kids with money had lunch bags.
Dang, man. If I would have knew you, I would have mailed you one.
Shut the hell up. You're dumb. Leftovers. I don't want that shit. I don't want a Transformers lunch bag.
How would you know? And actually, it wasn't Transformers. It was Ninja Turtles.
Close. That was my next guess.
Fuck. That's hilarious. Okay, let's get back to this fucking movie. So she packs it up, but later it shows her, right? She goes to the attic.
Yeah.
But we find out she's dreaming because she opens the box, and I thought this was weird because it caught me off guard for a second. She opens the box, and I thought she was awake, and she opens up and she sees the dress I'm like, why didn't the mom keep that fucking dress?
Right.
And then there was something else she found in there.
A doll. A really old doll.
Yeah, like a Where'd You Touch Me doll.
Oh my gosh. Richard.
I'm just saying.
A raggedy doll.
Yeah. Where'd the bad man touch you doll, which is weird.
Oh my God.
But a fitting touch to this movie. But that's when you find out she's dreaming, because then it's like something weird happens. She turns around and like you wait for him to jump at some point, and he does. He jumps on her. Mm-hmm. And doesn't he make a comment? He's like, "Oh, you look even better than you did back then."
No, that was Nancy. He had the hots for.
Oh, but he said something about her too.
He's like, "Do you remember me?" And she wakes up and she's in her bed, just really upset. And then the next thing, they take you to the school, and then you see Quentin and Nancy have another interaction. He's asking if she's okay.
You need someone to talk to. I'll get down your pants.
And he has this, and the one thing was like, I love myself, but no, why does his face look like he's in pain? He just has this look like,
He does all the time. Right? He has a pouty face.
Yeah.
He's kind of the quintessential for our era emo. He's the emo kid.
He looked a lot like his character. A little bit like his face, like the character in Jennifer's body.
He has
without the piercings.
He has that face like he's gonna say, "To live is to die."
Maybe he did off camera.
But what are they talking about?
Just that, and teacher says, "Quentin, go to class."
His dad.
His dad. Yeah.
His
and
Paja.
then in class, you see Chris again falling her asleep. And Jesse's just kind of watching her from afar. And
now they're in class and they're focusing, and then she dozes off.
They're flipping through the book. She's flipping through the book that they're reading in class.
Yeah.
And then the pictures start getting weird, and then she sees there's like a claw, like the scratches on the page, bloody, and then she that starts giving it off for her, and she's telling herself like,
doesn't
wake
she
up,
go
wake
out
up.
And like a girl like takes her, like she herself says, "Follow me," and Freddy's like 1, 2, like he's counting, like he's gonna go play hide and seek.
Yeah, so
in this scene, right?
First, she tells herself she's trying to first wake herself up. She knows that she's falling asleep, and then it has like this like poof effect in the movie.
Yeah, it's like a fog mist. Yeah,
it looks like the building.
I thought this was a cool effect when she does that, because first she's in class and then all of a sudden it does change, but it does a really cool effect of getting smoky or whatever, and then bam, it looks like hell. Yeah,
and again she's sitting there telling herself to wake up, and you hear Freddy. And he's like, you really shouldn't fall asleep in class. And this is where he starts being creepy. He's like, you look as beautiful as ever.
Yeah, exactly.
My skin crawled, and I was like, no.
And she panics, and she gets out of that room, and then she sees a girl but it's her as a child. She's like, come on, we gotta go.
Not yet, babe.
Oh, what happens? Come on.
She wakes up screaming. She wakes up.
At that point, she does?
She wakes up, and then she sees that there's some strands of her actual hair on the book. So Freddy did get her a little bit.
Yeah, she screams and freaks everybody out. Everyone's like, whoa. And the teacher, hey, are you all right?
And she runs out of the class, and then Jesse yells after her. She goes back home, and at her house...
Which, as a parent, would you leave your kid? After something she just witnessed, her friend slices on throat. Would you leave for work? I know, like, you have to work, but let's be real. I mean, you could take some sick days here.
Yeah.
Like, my kid just witnessed something horrific. Obviously, she's
traumatizing.
Struggling. Wouldn't you take a few days?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you wouldn't, but...
What the hell does that mean?
You're a workaholic.
I know, but something that tragic?
Yeah.
That's pretty, like...
hardcore, man.
Hardcore, and something to really worry about. Like, oh, is my kid okay?
Yeah.
She finds their dog outside, Rufus. And she's like, come on, let's go inside. And back she goes to the freaking... Inside, the mom comes down. She's like some flight attendant. Says that she's going to be out of town for work.
Yeah, but she does ask, are you sure you're going to be okay?
Yeah. She's like, try to sleep. I'll call you when I land. And then it's nighttime. And then she finds some newspaper. And then she's reading over Dean's obituary.
Yeah.
And then she hears noises, like outside, some rustling and stuff. And then Jesse pops outside the window, which I got was a little reference, like it reminded me of Scream. Yeah. When he pops in and he's like, bleh.
Yeah, he comes through the window. Why? Nobody's home. Just comes through the front door.
Like, creep. And then he's like, I'm going to be honest. You know, I've been jealous and an asshole, but Dean was my friend. So, like, fill me in on what is really going on. You guys are talking about these dreams.
And he's not admitting it right now, but he's having those dreams too. He's just trying to be like cool about it.
It's cool. Yeah, and then she mentions that every time she falls asleep, there's a man in her dreams. He's really burnt up, a little melted away.
And then this is where he does admit, he's like, yeah.
Knives on his fingers.
And they kind of put to... Chris does. She's like, whoa, we're having a shared dream.
Yeah.
And he's like, no way. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And she's like, all I want to do is sleep. And he's like, well, how about this? He's like, maybe we don't talk about him or about the dream.
And
you
go
won't
away.
dream
You'll
about
forget
him.
it. What she actually is, right.
And then, so I guess they go to sleep. And you hear barking outside. You assume it's Rufus. And Chris wakes up. She opens the door. She's like, what the hell's the dog doing outside again? She can't find him. She just hears the barking. So she's walking outside. It's all dark and foggy. You get this like eerie feeling, like waiting for Freddy to come around again.
Yeah.
And she finds Rufus and he's dead.
He's got the classic
slashes on him.
Yeah.
And then Freddy makes his little appearance and he's like, oh, I was just petting him.
Yeah. So those are the quips they tried to do, but they're not as effective.
No. So she goes inside, and this is the scene that you were just talking about. She goes inside her house, but it's not her house. It's the school.
Yeah, the preschool.
Mm-hmm. You see like the little kid writing with chalk on the walls, the little letters. And then, the little girl grabs her by the hand and she's like, come on. He's going to get us. But is that little girl? It's her, right? Yeah, it's a little kid.
And she grabs her and then she starts walking, but then she stops like an idiot. But what are you going to do? And Freddy's up against the wall counting, like hide and seek, like you would. And then she's just petrified staring at him. And then he looks at her, right?
Yeah, and he's like, ready or not, here I come.
Yeah.
One thing that I saw that they kept doing over and over throughout this movie was, again, making reference to the older movies, doing that scene with little girls jumping on the jumping rope and singing that song.
Yeah.
1, 2.
Yeah, the classic.
A lot.
What Freddy says it in his own way, Jackie Earle Haley does.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, and then before she thinks anything happened, she wakes up and then she goes to use the restroom, trying to cool off and be like, I'm good. She goes back to bed and lays down next to Jesse.
Yeah.
And it's Freddy there and he's like, I found you. And she's freaking out. Yeah, she's freaking out in her dream.
Yeah.
And Jesse tries to wake her up.
Well, and it looks like she's having a seizure.
A seizure, yeah.
He's like, whoa, Chris. And all of a sudden, she levitates.
Oh, yeah.
And starts shaking. He's freaking out. He's like, what the fuck? And at this point, this is cool, because this was in the first movie, too. With the same character. They use the rotating room and just fling her all over the place. I thought this was pretty effective. And they're just beating the hell out of her. And then all of a sudden, he slices her chest. Yeah. And she falls. And blood splatters everywhere. It's all over Jesse. At this point, he gets freaked out. He's like, oh, fuck, I gotta get out of here. He starts running outside. Okay. He trips the alarm.
Yeah.
And I got a note here. I put, boyfriend trips the house alarm. The whole police force comes out. Blonde hair, blue eyes. No wonder. And then I put, not in my neighborhood. What the fuck?
They're not everybody's coming down here.
No.
Cavalry.
You're lucky to see one in an hour. Like, it ain't happening. But yeah, the whole police force in full effect, chasing, going. You hear it immediately. It's like, dude, get the fuck out of here. And then he panics and runs. Which, how do you explain it? I mean, that's pretty smart. Like, get the fuck out of there, I guess. But then what I don't get is he's running in the neighborhood. I didn't think Nancy and him were that close. How did he know what room Nancy was in? And two, where to go? Like, he went to her window pretty quickly, and it's second story.
He's fucking a super fast runner.
But it didn't make sense because I didn't think their relationship was like that.
Listen, he climbed up Chris's window pretty effortlessly.
So that makes sense, though. So that makes sense to go to Chris's window. I'm not disputing that one, but Nancy's, that doesn't make sense because she's an introvert. You can tell they weren't close like that.
And back at the restaurant, he was like making fun of Quentin for even like, I don't know, having a crush on her or something. That's what I got.
Which I get why he went and talked to her, because he's like, hey, this shit's real. She just got attacked or whatever. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I didn't do this. We got to figure it out. And then that's when Nancy's like, Freddy is the name. He's like, yeah, Freddy Krueger or whatever.
Yeah, she mentions that she's been hearing that song.
And he's like, you got to figure it out. You got to help me. And then he jumps out the window.
Oh, and then before he leaves, that's when he gives her her life advice to not fall asleep.
Yeah, if you die in your dreams, you die for real. And he jumps out the window, and then all of a sudden, the cops are just on a full-on manhunt because he killed a blonde-haired and blue-eyed girl in a very privileged neighborhood. And they tackle him on the ground. They're like, "Get down, fucker!" And he's screaming, "I didn't do it!" And everybody's kind of looking out there. I did bring up, because I have a note on this too, is in the first movie, you watched the first one after this one, right?
Yes.
Just to get a palate cleanser. Here's my note, I missed the cop dad element of the first movie. So the dad was a police chief or a police officer, Nancy.
Oh, Nancy.
Nancy's dad.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have him in this. Nancy's dad doesn't exist, which I think maybe they did it to make it different. Yeah. But I miss that element of it, like doing an investigation on top of it, of what's going on, because it keeps the story going, but it also adds another element.
Because she has an in a little bit in the first movie.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I was like, fuck, man, they should have added a cop dad in this, but they didn't do that. And they essentially replaced the cop dad with
the teacher.
No, Quentin. Oh. He serves as kind of that a little in between, where he's kind of the Johnny Depp character / dad character. I think they molded that character to make it work that way, because essentially he's helping her along the way, and the cop does kind of help at the end. Yeah. Not really, but he's there. Yeah. Kind of like Quentin does. But so at this point, he gets arrested. He's in the jail cell. He's freaking out. He's like going on full on crazy, hitting his head, like
tapping his feet. Yeah. You can tell he's annoying everyone in his cell.
Well, the one guy, he's like, "What the fuck, dude?
Chill out."
And which I think I would be too. I'd be, if I was in a jail cell like that for murder, I'd be freaking, dude. Especially what I've seen. I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. Nancy calls Quentin and she's like, "Hey, you said if I ever need anything, like, give you a call.
You need to talk.
Well, FYI, Chris is dead."
He's like, "What?"
Yeah.
I like the cell phones. We weren't quite at the smartphone era yet.
Flip phones.
Yeah, flip phones, sidekicks. You know, they're awesome. I had to get Blackberries. They're cool. I had a Blackberry. I had a Blackjack 2.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Samsung Bougie. Blackjack 2. It was sick.
I wish people could see your fingers going up.
Hey, I love that phone. That phone was fucking sick.
And then you go to a bookstore, and Quentin is there researching side effects of insomnia, and he's falling asleep. And you can tell, like, the screensaver on the computer becomes animated.
Yeah, that was cool. I thought that was cool CGI.
And then he sees a little girl in the bookstore, and she runs away. And so he's walking towards it, and again, you're getting this, like, sense of dream, because the walls, as you're walking by, they kind of warp in and out a little bit. And there's absolutely no one in this bookstore. It's just him. And then you hear, again, the 1-2 song from far back.
Yeah.
And if he gets up close, there's Freddy. And right as Freddy turns around to look at him and he sees him face to face, Nancy wakes him up. And she's like, "Bad dreams? Is it Freddy again?"
And then, yeah, and you said this is where they discover about micro naps and stuff. And I thought that was a cool element to this, bringing that up, like just saying it like, "Oh man, you're so tired, you go to sleep and you don't even know it. You're awake, but still napping." Which I thought was a pretty cool take on that, because the other movies don't cover it like that. You just fall asleep and you fall asleep.
That's
but this one, you're still awake, but you're so sleep deprived that your reality is blurring. You don't know what's real, what's not. I thought that was cool as Freddy's coming in. And that's kind of the plan of Freddy, too, especially with Nancy. He's trying to get her so tired that she'll eventually, because they hit that you get so sleep deprived, you go into a coma. And so Freddy's trying to get Nancy to that, so he keeps her forever. He isn't trying to kill her.
He just wants her in his
her
world.
Yeah. Which I thought was a cool take also, where the other film didn't do that. Didn't want it like that. He was just trying to attack her.
Immediately, yeah, quick kills.
Yeah, it added to the infatuation. I know you didn't like that part about the kids and the Chimo stuff, but I thought that was a cool take on that. Like, oh, he's still obsessed with her.
Yeah.
So.
Which is, I thought if he liked kids...
Yeah.
Never mind. They're not kids anymore at this point.
No. I mean, they're
teenagers.
They're young adults, yeah.
But, I don't know. So
No, but I just thought it was kind of an interesting take.
You go to jail, and then you see Jesse again.
Oh, yeah, the cop opens the door. He's like, hey, man, your parents posted bail, which... You just got accused of murdering your girlfriend, and the whole police force came to attack you from a house alarm.
Now they're letting you go.
Which, dude, Brink's home alarm system, if that was you guys, man, kudos. You got the whole police force. That alarm system's got to cost big bucks. Anyways, he walks out, he starts walking, and all of a sudden he looks behind him, and it's just a brick wall. Yeah. For what he was at, where he was at, it just like, there, and then he starts freaking out. He's like, oh shit, I'm sleeping. And starts walking down, and then it turns into the boiler room.
Yeah, he hears Chris, like, I think it's Chris, it's supposed to be Chris yelling for him for help.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, and then this is where you get another whip of like...
You see two girls. So you see Chris and Nancy as kids.
Yeah, they're up there behind like bar, just looking down.
And he don't care. He's like, fuck, I'm freaking out, dude. This fucker's somewhere.
And then you hear the glove knives just running.
And I think they did that. I think they did that too much. Like playfulness with the glove. Like,
yeah, you get it.
Come on, dude. That's where you maybe don't dial Jackie Earle Haley back and let him improvise a little bit, because you just kept to the same thing throughout the whole movie.
That was his creepy element.
Yeah.
Which was not very creepy.
And then once he gets down there, though, he sees them hanging, the bodies, right?
Like body bags from hooks
Chris
on the wall.
and Dean are hanging there. And then Freddy shows up, right?
Yeah. And again, they're trying to make him be funny. And Jesse's like, oh, God. And Freddy's like, nope, just me.
Oh, yeah. He's like, oh, God. He's like, oh, no, just me.
Yeah. And he's like, why are you screaming? I haven't cut you yet.
Yeah.
And he disappears for a minute.
And he curls up in a ball.
Yeah. And he's just, keeping an eye out. Where is he coming? And then he comes from behind him with a claw and then cuts him in the back.
I thought that was cool. Is this the point where he dies?
Yeah.
So he like punches through his back all the way through his chest. It doesn't show the back in the reality world, but he's lifted up and then bursts through. And the guy in the background, his cell partner, is like, what the fuck? I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Know. Which clearly, bro, you didn't fucking do it. How are you going to do this?
Oh, yeah.
And his chest burst out. How I know this kid was a fucking asshole, though, was Freddy's like, oh, man, the brain lives for another 10 minutes. We get to have some more fun. And the kid's like, ah, which I wish they would have made him more of an asshole, because it would have been more effective. But I felt like this one I was cheering for Freddy. I was like, this kid's a fucking POS. I hate him. Torture his ass.
I wasn't hating him as much. Yeah.
Like I said, they could have did a little bit better by making you hate him a little bit more. I knew where they were trying to go with him, but they just didn't do enough of it.
And you
like he should have been the boyfriend that was beating Chris. That would have been. Oh my God. And then you're like, oh yeah, let's fucking get him. Yeah.
6 minutes, play with his head. You go back to the bookstore, and Quentin and Nancy are there, and this is where Quentin pulls out his pills. I paused at the movie to see what they were called. Zonarol.
Oh, so that's in the Freddy versus Jason, I believe. Is that what they call it?
I don't know.
Little reference.
Yeah, and he's like, it's speed for kids with ADHD, and he's like, it's fine. I've been on him since I was 15. This is nothing.
Yeah, I think they call it that. Maybe they don't. Maybe I'm mixing up. There's medication there. That they give it, that make them not dream.
Oh,
was the medication? I thought it was. Maybe it's not.
It's on the third one. Dreamweavers? No,
Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors.
Hashtag dude Dawkins. Dawkins did the album for Dream Warriors. Oh my fucking God.
I think you're talking about the third one because Nancy is the one with
Dream Warriors.
No. I mean with the medication she keeps.
No, Freddy vs. Jason has it too, but that was Freddy vs. Jason is they had him on the medication not to dream.
Oh, because on this one she's on some medication, so just on the third one to put the kids on it too.
Yeah, Dawkins the Dream Warriors. That song fucking rocks. Look it up if you haven't. I love it.
And then Nancy. She wants nothing to do with it. She's like, no, thank you. And then she notices that Quentin is wearing like a crucifix. And she's like, oh, I didn't take you for like the religious kind or something like that. And he's like, well, you gotta believe in something, right? And then he says that he found a book that was called The Pied Piper of Hamelin. Essentially, it was a story about a guy who was betrayed by his town and now he was taking revenge on the children. So he thinks that kind of like is his Freddy story. And then, this is where they researched that at the 70 hour of like not getting any consistent sleep, you start doing those micro naps like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Where the brain tries to shut itself down to recharge. And then...
And this is where they're finally in his Jeep.
Filing his Jeep? What?
Like Nancy and Quentin, they're in the Jeep. And they drive to the little grocery store, Quickie Mart.
Oh, no, not yet. They go to Nancy's house.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then her mom freaks out.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, she's like, what are you doing? She's like scribbling this dark, fucking creepy drawings. And she's...
Fuck you, Mom. I have emotions, okay?
Yeah, and then Nancy asks, she's like, hey, like, just curious, like, was there ever a connection with, like, any of the other teams? Maybe when we were little... She's like, oh, like playing it off. I don't know. I can't recall anything. She's like, what about someone named Freddy? And she's like, no.
But her
I
eyes,
don't know anything.
Her reaction is like stunned for a second.
Yeah, like,
so you know they know something.
Yeah, so she goes, Dr. Holbrook, and calls Quentin's dad. And she's like, hey, FYI, like Nancy's starting to remember. And then Nancy goes to take a bath.
Oh, that's right. And this is another shared scene. So that's what I like about this movie is it has scenes from the first movie. Mm-hmm. It pays its respects.
So that's...
because I like this part of the movie. They do a pretty good job, just like the first one. They do a pretty good job in the tub.
Yeah,
with a more modern take on it too, because you have a cell phone with a timer on it.
Yeah, that's one thing I saw when I was researching is they try to do a lot of these scenes to pay respects to Wes Craven and the original movie and try to keep them, which in the end, with some people will kind of bit them back in the ass because they thought viewers were calling it lazy for just plagiarizing the original movie by taking those scenes.
I don't agree with it because it's supposed to be a remake.
Yeah.
Yeah. What she puts headphones in, right? And then
a timer in her phone.
Yeah, a timer in her phone, and then
there's that angle with her legs, which I was like, why are we looking at this angle?
But that's the whole point of it. That's like the first movie they did that.
So I wrote a note. It says, who the F takes a bath in that position? I have never, because usually
I don't know. I don't take baths.
I've taken baths, but I stretch out my legs. Like you want to get soaked in there and not sit there with your knees
but
bent
not
up.
Everybody's 5 foot.
Still.
Like she's clearly like 5'6", 5'7".
No, but her legs are like really bent.
Yeah.
I know where they're going, but I was like, come on.
Yeah, and then the hand, she dozes off, the hand comes up, but then the mom knocks on the door, like in the first movie. Mm-hmm. The hand comes back down. I thought that was cool. And then she gets up out of the tub, but then she walks to her room, and I thought this was a really cool scene. It's the snow. It's snowing. And
living in Washington, that snow looked pretty realistic.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job.
I've seen fake snow in movies, and I'm like, it looks nothing like, you can tell when people step on it, it's like the dry stuff. But this one, it was leaving imprints. It was, it had a good effect. They look realistic. No,
he did a killer job at that, directing that. And I thought that was cool. And this is where she has an interaction with Freddy, which she's like, I set an alarm. And he's like, you set that in your dreams.
Yeah, and at this point, she's in the school. She's like walking.
Yeah.
She's back at the school and sees that there's a sign.
Yeah.
And Freddy greets her. He's like, hi, red little Nancy. All grown up. And he's like, don't you remember me? Like, you must have. You were my number one. So she was his favorite at one point.
Yeah, creepy.
He's like, you were my little Nancy. And then, like, sniffs her face, which I was like, ugh. I was like, I don't like that.
It's like, yeah. Reminds me of like Hannibal when he's like...
Yeah, and he's like, you smell different. I was like, stop touching her.
You smell different. Yeah, he does make that comment. It's fucking weird. What are you supposed to smell like?
I don't know. Little girls.
It's fucking creepy.
And then, yeah, and then Quentin calls Nancy. He wakes her up. And he's like, hey, it got to Jesse. He died in his sleep. And you take a look at Quentin. He's fighting his sleep. I noticed that there was like Red Bull cans all over his desk.
The eyes, everybody's eyes. That's why I liked in this movie as they went on, their eyes got really black. They really did a good job with that point where you could tell they're declining in sleep.
And yeah, and so he goes to her house, to Nancy's house. And she says that one of her drawings that she has, she drew the school after her dream. And he's like, oh, I've never seen this before.
Which I thought this was a cool element, too, that they added to this movie. She is a drawer. So she drew Freddy, what he looked like. I wish they would have did a little bit more. But she was drawing it, drew the preschool, exactly what it looked like. I thought this was a really cool part and element of this movie to make it different.
Sorry. So apparently Quentin has a sleepover at her house because the next day they're going through Nancy's mom's stuff in her like bedroom, and then they find a picture tucked away underneath everything, that the preschool picture.
Yeah.
With all the kids as kids. I mean, it's like that preschool Ohio, 1994 to 1995.
Right.
And her mom walks in and she's like, hey, the hell are they doing? Give me that picture back.
Yeah, she freaks out. She's like, what the hell are you doing? Looking at Quentin.
Yeah.
Not Nancy, just Quentin.
Yeah. And Nancy's like, wait, like, you freaking lied. I thought, like, there was no connection, and there's a picture, and all of them are there.
Yeah.
And then she flips the picture over, and you see all the kids' names on there. Which cool little thing. So the names on the back of the picture, they were actual, like, film crew members' names that they put in the back.
Oh, that's cool.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm sorry, like, I hid it. Yeah, I just didn't want you to remember.
Yeah. I didn't want you to remember awfulness.
And then she tells him this story of Freddy. Way back in the day, there was a man at the school, and his name was Freddy Krueger. And you see Freddy in his normal clothes. They're taking the school picture. And he was a gardener who used to live in the basement. And he was there for the kids, which that was kind of weird. But I guess he used to live in the basement at the school.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then you see scenes of Freddy just being friendly to these kids, like playing hide and seek, like...
Yeah, a real part of the school. He's a real, like, main character there.
Yeah, they're playing games. And then her mom says, the parents didn't want to believe it at first. All the kids were so innocent. And then you see little young Nancy drawing pictures, and Freddy comes up to her and he's like, oh my gosh, like, you're such a good drawer. I have pictures of that I've drawn, but they're not this good. Like, maybe you can help me, trying to be friendly.
Which maybe this is what caused her to be a really good drawer.
Oh my God.
I mean? I'm just saying.
I'm okay with not being a good drawer then. And then you see...
I'm just saying, good trade-off.
Nancy's there again, like she's back, again in this flashback of when they were kids. And her mom's examining her, turns her around, and she has this like scratches on her back.
Which
resemble like gardening tool. Like, so was he like scratching him with this tool? I don't know.
Yeah, he was like inflicting pain, but also molesting him. Like he had a weird sexual thing.
And young Nancy, she's like, well, there's a secret cave. We're not supposed to talk about it. And he takes us there. And all to the end of that story, her mom is like, he left town. No one ever found him.
Lied about it. But so at this point, I didn't put two and two together until the end. So these kids think that he's haunting them and killing them because they lied and created this fake story about him. And it shows it more later when Quentin falls back asleep.
Yeah, and she's like, your dreams are just repressed memories. you guys, it was a terrible time, whatever he was doing to you guys.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And Nancy's like, no, screw that shit. We need to find all the kids that were in the picture and talk to them.
Yeah. And she starts looking them up, right?
Yeah.
And they're dead. She's seen on the internet. And they stumble upon old Marcus Yoon. And he has internet clips, right? But this is later. You see Quentin. He's like, you know what?
His dad picks him up.
Yeah. And then she's like, dude, we got to figure this out. And he's like, listen to yourself. This is bullshit. They just explained it. Get a fucking grip. And leaves with her dad. Yeah. Or leaves with his dad. This is where she does look up Marcus Yoon, though, right?
Before that, we have Quentin at the pool doing his like swim competition.
Oh yeah, and this is the point where he starts to think like, oh shit, like we lied about this guy and got him killed, because he's in the pool, he falls asleep, is drowning, he gets pulled out, but he's dreaming, and he comes out of the water and he sees this old rundown like foundry, and when he gets out, it's cold, he's cold, and then you see Freddy running past, screaming, and then cars you can tell it's way back like in the 90s or whatever, because the cars are older, and they're running and chasing him down. Well, he starts to follow them, and then he sees them chase him into a building, and he's screaming, he's like, I don't know what you think I did. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And they're trying to like beat down the door. They don't. And then Clancy, what's the dude's name, the dad's name? Is it No, that's his real name, Clancy.
I don't remember. I wrote
Quentin's dad, though. He's like, this ends tonight. And he has a Molotov cocktail, lights it on, and he's like, this is for my son, and throws it into the window.
Yeah. And that shit goes,
Yeah, it goes crazy. And this is this cheesy CGI, because then he starts running, screaming. Freddy does. He's like, oh.
He takes off a coat, and you see the classic iconic sweater.
Yes, you see it. It's like, oh my god. Even I was a little like, this is cheesy.
Well,
but then his face is on fire, but it's like cheesy, like CGI fire.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh. And he runs straight. This was a cool part. He was on fire, engulfed in flame. Whoever that was, if that was real, that was cool. He runs towards Quentin.
Yeah.
And that's when you see the close up of his face where that was cheesy.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up out of because someone revived him.
You're doing CPR. One little cool thing that I did find about the cheesy iconic sweater.
Yeah.
It was knitted by Judy Graham, who was the same lady that knitted the 1984 sweater.
Oh, that's cool.
So they got her to do one.
Well, so it's cool they showed it. I just thought that was a little cheesy, ripping the coat off like that.
Yeah. They're just showing you how he became to be.
So Quentin wakes up, he's like, fuck, we lied about this guy. This is why he's after us.
Yeah. And then this is what you were talking about. Nancy finds the clip
Marcus
of this
Yoon.
guy.
Yeah, he has things. He's like, man, I'm sleep deprived. I'm seeing this guy in my dreams. He's a burn victim. He keeps taking me to school, and I keep getting closer. He's like, I finally got into the school. He's like, is there anybody else having these dreams?
Anyone out there to help me, please? Like, he's desperate.
Yeah, this character, this guy, he has a small part here, but he's in Friday the 13th, 2009. He plays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he plays a character. He's pretty good.
Nice.
But yeah, he's in this, and then all of a sudden he falls asleep, you can tell, and then he slams into the camera, the webcam, and then it goes to gray. It's like,
so he's dead on the video.
Yeah, so everybody on that list has died. The only people alive are Quentin and Nancy.
And then Quentin comes and he's like, hey, I know what happened to Freddy after his whole pool dream scene. Yep. And they go into the dad's office to confront him, and they're like, dude, we know what you did. You guys killed Freddy and you burned him. And he's like, how? And the dad's like, no, listen, like, we were trying to protect you. And he's like, dude, like, we were 4 and 5. Like, why did you believe us? Like, did you actually see the cave? Did you tell the police? Like, was there any investigation?
He's like, you guys had marks.
Yeah, he's like, what if you kill an innocent man, you know? Like, and the dad's like, you know what? Like, I think about that all the time. It's like a trauma that he has to. And he's like, goo, you fucking deserve that.
Yeah.
Again, right now, he's 100% thinking that the Freddy was innocent. And from when I was looking up my research, I guess that is something that they kind of play with, of having Freddy, having that be a twist in the movie, of having him actually be an innocent person.
Yeah, but he's really not.
Yeah. And then the dad, he's like, you know what? Maybe when you grow up, if you have kids, like, you'll understand that you're going to do whatever to protect your kids.
Which wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I know I would. That's one thing I would. Like, you touch any kid, I'm going to fucking kill you. Especially my own kid. You're fucking dead, dude. I will go to prison. Like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that's gross.
That's weird.
And yeah, they both storm out of their Quentin's dad's office. And he's like, in their stories, like, Freddy killed him, but what if there's a way that they can stop him? Again, right now Quentin is saying, we were telling all these things, they were lies.
Yeah.
And they got him killed. So maybe we can do something to fucking redeem themselves.
Right.
For having gotten him killed. And then as they're walking down the hallway, Nancy hears her name and she sees Chris is like in a body bag being dragged out of the hall.
Which again, they changed it up a little bit, but this is, they got this from the first movie where Nancy sees a body bag of her friend being dragged in the hallway.
Yeah.
So it's a different point. It isn't exactly like this, but they use the same one.
And then she turns forward.
Yeah.
Turns to the side again. And this time it's there again, but this time
Facing
it's standing up.
Yeah.
And she's like, do you want to play?
And he's like,
yeah. And
I thought it was cool. It looked good.
Yeah. And she did tell Chris, she's like, Quentin, she's like, I just saw Chris. And he's like, you know what? We're going to go find the preschool.
Yeah.
But first, we need to go get more Satterwall.
Yeah.
Satterwall.
Yeah, he had to get his drugs. And I like this because it really it made it paint them like junkies. Like, he goes in there, he's like, man, I just need my fix. And she's in the car. She's tired. She's dozing off, and she grabs the lighter, car lighter, which kids, if like nowadays, they don't have them anymore. Yeah. But that was a real cool feature back in the day in cars. You had a lighter that you can heat up, and then it would get hot, and she used that to like try to wake herself up.
Burn herself, yeah.
But then, so he's freaking out. The doctor's like, dude, you don't have any more fucking refills. He's like, just fill it up. And she goes inside, and then she's still kind of sleeping. And you see, and I thought this was a cool effect, the door, you see him walking into the grocery store, Freddy, but like it's like blinking, it's like flashing. And then he walks in there. And then it turns into the boiler room, the grocery store does.
Yeah. So it turns into the boiler room, and again, Freddy's doing his little thing where he's running his fingers, the thing, and then he pushes her to the floor. He confronts her immediately, pushes her down. She's trying to get away from him, and then he smacks her in the face, and he's like, "Wake up!" But it's really Quentin trying to wake her up because she's inside the store.
Yeah,
but she's dreaming already. She wakes up and then she sees like on her arm.
She's screaming, and then Quentin comes running. He's like, "Oh shit!" And she's on the ground.
Yeah, and one thing is she puts up her hand and she was able to grab like a piece of that sweater.
Yeah, grabbed him, and just like the first movie, Nancy finds out, oh,
I can
come to the real world, and then they start putting two together to pull him out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and then she gets a huge gash on her arm, and Quentin has to take her to the hospital.
And
which I like this scene, by the way.
Her mom shows up, Dr. Holbrook, and she's like, who did it? And then meanwhile, you fucking still see Quentin out here trying to get his fix, going through the nurses. Yeah,
he wants to stay awake, and he ends up getting adrenaline stuff. Yeah,
he takes some pills.
No, shots.
And then a doctor comes in, and she's like, you know what? Like, she just needs, like, I have medication for the pain.
Yeah.
But it's going to make her fall asleep.
Right.
And then you see a quick little effect where the doctor's hand is Freddy's claw.
Yeah, and she's like, no.
Yeah, so he's...
Which they could have had fun with this scene, like her being tied down to the hospital bed.
Oh, yeah.
And like in previous movies, Freddy had hands, like syringes for hands.
Oh.
And they could have had fun with this and put him in a doctor's gown and a little mask on with the syringe for hands.
Yeah.
And like, I'm coming after you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could have did a fun twist on this scene, and they totally missed the mark on this.
Quick and done.
I like the scene how it is, but they could have done way better, where they could have emphasized that micro napping, like where she thinks the nurse that is kind of, let's be real, kind of bitchy, turns into Freddy. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But again, what woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Coulda, shoulda, but it wasn't.
And so she's like, we're going to put her to sleep. We're going to give her something. And then she's like, no, Mom, no. And then the nurse is like, hey, can you step outside? We got to talk, man.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, she needs the rest.
Oh, yeah.
Just sign here for me. And she's like, I don't want her to be in pain. And the nurse is like, she won't be. Just sign here.
Give it up, bitch.
And so she ends up signing. But then Nancy and Quentin are gone when they go back in the room.
Yeah, they're on the road. They're fucking taking off, going to go look for the preschool.
We find out Quentin's favorite color is blue.
They're making small talk. Yeah. Richard's favorite.
Yeah, oh my God.
She's like, dude, thank you for saving me. And he's like, no biggie. He's like, I stole some fucking adrenaline from the nurse's cart. He's like, you want some?
And she's still, so... I don't know about you, but I'm like, fuck yeah, give me some. I gotta fucking wake up.
Yeah. And you can, like, he gives it to himself on his leg. He's like, oh. Like an EpiPen.
Yeah, he's like, oh.
Yeah. And she's like, you know what? Just ask me questions. Keep me awake. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, he's like, what do you want me to ask you?
Yeah. And he's like, how come? I have a question. How come every time I invited you over the last few years, you never showed up? And she's like, I just never fit in. Like,
yeah, I'm a weirdo. Cool I'm an introvert. Which I can relate. It's cool.
Yeah, and he's like, well, okay. Fine, if we survive, I'm taking you on a real date. Fucking Red Lobster before they go out of business.
And then you see Freddy in the middle of the street, right?
Yeah.
And then he swerves and they crash. But coincidentally, the preschool's right there.
Oh, yeah.
So they start walking to the preschool. They get in there.
Yeah. And no one's been there in fucking years.
Which, put a pen in that real quick. In this scenario, in this movie, who do you relate with most?
Is this a new thing?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
You're just curious?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't pinpoint everybody's personalities on this. I can tell that Chris is like the popular kid. Jesse's the rebel.
Dean is.
Or Dean? Dean's the first one to go out.
Dean was the wild rebel kid.
Jesse was also...
No, Jesse was an asshole.
Okay.
Should have been a jock, but he wasn't. Because it's 2010. Jocks weren't cool.
Not anymore.
Yeah, so he was an asshole. You had the kind of semi-cool kid who was cool with everybody. And
Quentin.
And Quentin. You had Nancy, the quiet girl. You had Chris, who should have been the cheerleader,
I think she gave me popular vibes.
Yeah, the popular vibes. So you had all the elements.
I think I would have been, I guess, personality-wise, Nancy, the quiet girl.
Nancy, yeah. I got Quentin.
You got Quentin. You knew everybody?
Oh, no, actually, I would have been the third kid at that seat with Quentin and Jesse.
Not saying anything?
Yep, I would have been that third guy. That's not even in the movie.
Participation point.
Yep, I would have been that guy.
Oh my God.
But yeah,
fine,
anyways.
I would have been Dr. Holbrook.
Oh shit, lame.
We're gonna hide all your memories, sweetheart.
Well, she's got it coming, which I'm excited for. The pacing of this movie went really fast.
Yeah.
It was done before you know it. I kind of liked it. I liked the pacing. It got in and got out, man. That was clean. But anyways, getting back to the movie, they get into the preschool, right? What happens then? Quentin sees Freddy and smashes on fucking Nancy, and he's like, no.
And then she doesn't see it, so he's kind of like, oh shit, like what's real and what's not real
Clearly
anymore.
Adrenaline didn't work.
Yeah. And she's like, dude, follow me. And she just, apparently all her memories start coming back. She remembers where things are. So she opens the door and they go downstairs. And then they find like this, like an oil lantern, it looks like, and they light it up.
Yeah.
And Quentin, he's like, I still don't remember anything. And then they walk into this bedroom, which is where Freddy used to live. And there's like a bed. You see the glove with the knives on the end of it. And then there's like,
he's like, oh, this is his house.
yeah, kid drawings on the wall.
Yeah.
And then Nancy sees one space in particular, and she's like, "There's something behind the wall."
And they rip off the little bulletin board thing.
Yeah, and then they find like a small door, like an opening, so they crawl through it.
Yeah,
and I think they found Freddy's cave. And again, it's just like
it's a little sex lair.
Brick room with more like kid drawings
and a bed in it, weird,
and like a little table and chairs.
Yeah, fucked up.
And then Nancy has another memory, and Freddy's like, come on. He's like, can you keep a secret? I'm going to take you to a special place. And she just remembers like kind of having like a game. They're painting the wall with like red paint.
Yeah.
And she's wearing wearing a blue dress.
How the hell did she go home and she's covered in paint? And her parents, I'm like, what happened? Or the teachers, where'd all this red paint come from?
When is he finding time to take this kids downstairs? I thought when you're in school, they have pretty rigid schedules. Like, you're here, you're learning, you're done, you're on the bus and going back home.
It's a little far-fetched.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's a will, there's a way.
Maybe that's how this school. Maybe they were having after school
stuff. When she's doing her little soul searching thing, Quentin finds a box full of photos. And he's
Polaroid pictures.
Yeah, he's looking at these Polaroid pictures. And then Nancy turns in and she's like, what'd you find? He's like, oh. He doesn't want to tell her. He's like, no. And she's like, what? Let me see it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, dude, it's all of you.
Fucking.
So did he not molest all the kids, just her?
She was his favorite, so maybe he was only saving pictures.
I think he did molest them or torture most of them because Dean had problems.
They all were fucked up.
Yeah, so I think he did, but he mainly kept the pictures of Nancy.
Yeah, so they both, like, Nancy goes through them. She's, like, crying and everything. I thought they were going to show the pictures. They never did.
Well, thank God. That's weird. That's child porn.
Well, I was like, what the fuck are they watching?
Weirdo.
What are they seeing?
I'm okay with not seeing those. I'm okay.
I didn't think they were going to be explicit. I just thought they were going to be pictures of her in her little blue dress or something.
Yeah.
Not that, ew. And then, yeah, Quinn is like, we were wrong. He's like, he's not after us for lying.
Yeah.
He's after us because we told on him. And she's like, and then they start putting the picture together. She's like, yeah, he brought us here to remember like everything he's done to us. And they're like, well, but what does he want? And again, she like, I don't know, is using the little piece of burnt sweater as like a fucking amulet now.
She's like, dude, he wants them forever, for all eternity.
Like, he wants us to know what he did. And then they're just chilling in this room. I don't know. If I had run into something pretty traumatic that happened to me, I would have bolted out of there and be like,
I wouldn't. I would try to be piecing it together.
Really?
Yeah, if some dude played with my butthole, like, I'd be making sure. I'm like, what exactly happened here?
I mean, I feel like you could come back, but like, I feel like initially finding out, that would have been a big shock. I would have been like, I need to breathe for a minute.
Yeah.
Process, and then come back and
I don't smoke, but I went and smoked a cigarette. I'm like, oh my God.
So they're sitting on the bed. You know, they're like, if we don't do anything, we're going to die regardless. So, again, just her with her little piece of sweater. She's like, what if I'm the only one that can pull him out? And again, they kind of put this plan together. And she's like, you know, wake me up if you see me struggle while I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
And then she lays on the bed, and Quinn comes over and puts the cross necklace on her.
Yeah. And he grabs a weapon.
Yeah.
What do you call that board thing with the knife?
I don't know.
Like little slicer to slice paper.
Yeah, he breaks. Yeah, a paper cutter.
Yeah, paper cutter. Thing. I don't know, but yeah, he breaks that off. That's a pretty cool weapon. I've never seen one of those like that before. That was cool.
Yeah, and then they both fall asleep.
He falls asleep first.
Yeah,
and he's like, he wakes up and he's like, oh shit. He's like, I know where I'm at.
Yeah.
Fuck. And he's like, oh, Freddy comes in. He's like, oh, you're not going to save your little girlfriend.
And he grabs him with the head and like smashes him again.
Dude,
against the wall.
Yeah, and dude, that would fucking crush your skull because he's hitting him pretty hard, like against the pipes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so his face is all bloodied, and then he doesn't get stabbed at that point.
No, he just says tag. He scratches him a little bit.
Tag, you're it.
Which I did see, I guess, like in this scene. I don't know if it's at this scene or at one point, Freddy really did scratch Quentin in real life. I guess in one of the scenes where he was touching his abdomen, the knife didn't bend all the way, so he couldn't pull it away, so he did end up scratching him.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
So, but then he's on the ground, and then Nancy's like, Freddy!
And he's like, your girlfriend's here, and he disappears because he has priorities.
Yeah.
and he's over there with Nancy, and he's like, all right. He's like, now that you have me, like, what game do you want to play? And she's like, fuck you. He's like, oh, you're a little fast for me. Again, just trying to be funny and
it just didn't hit. It didn't hit right.
And he shows her like, look at everybody that's died so far. And again, he just added more bodies to his collection hanging from those hooks. And he's like, it's real and I'm real. And she pushed him back, and then they're kind of in and out of dream world. So she's in her house. Yeah. She's running upstairs and sees his shadow walking around the house following her. And she hides in her closet, and you can see him. He's walking around this room looking for her. Right. And he kind of peeks through, like, it's those closets where they have kind of like blinds.
Little shutters. Yeah.
Yeah. And he doesn't see her, but then all of a sudden he's inside the closet with her, and he's like, boo. So she starts running up again, and then the hallway turns into like a blood of pool.
Yeah, that was a cool effect too. So that's a little play on her house in the first movie when she's going up the stairs, and she gets like when she's going up, her foot goes into the stairs and kind of gets stuck like quickstand.
Oh, yeah.
This was kind of a play on that, I think. But it was cool. She was completely submerged. And then all of a sudden, it pans to her bedroom. And then it shows it like water just pooling up on the top. And then it bursts. And she's completely dry at this point, but then she's in her like kid outfit.
Yeah, like a crispy clear white dress.
Yeah, she looks at it. She's like, "What the fuck?"
And she looks like she can't move because she looks like he has her pinned down.
Yeah, and then he gets there and he's like at the door. He's like, and he's tapping. He's like doing his thing. He's like, "Hey,
dude, more creepy lines." He's like, "This dress was always one of my favorites."
Yeah.
He's like, "You remember?" Of course you do. And this is where it kind of clicks. He's like, "You remember everything." He's like, "Your memories is what fuels me."
Yeah.
So yes, they remember him. They brought him back.
Right. But Quentin wakes up. And he's like, dude, he explains, I'm getting you to where you never wake up forever. And she's fighting him, does get up, and then does stab him with scissors, shears. And he's like, oh, acts like he's hurt, and then he pulls it out. And this is the shitty CGI. When he pulls out the shears, it just looked terrible.
The nerves like stretch out so far out. It was like, it reminded me, remember The Mask with Jim Carrey? Yeah. And it bounces back on his face.
But The Mask was better, and that was made in like 93, 94. But no, he pulls the shears out. He's like, what's up?
Naughty girl.
Yeah. And then Quentin does wake up, and he's trying to wake her up. And Nancy gets thrown back on the bed, right? And Freddy's on top of her.
Yeah, and he tells her, he's like, I'm going
to keep you here forever.
Yeah. He's like, my plan, I have to keep you up long enough so when you do sleep, you never fucking wake up.
Yeah.
And he does his little line where he's like, I'm your boyfriend now.
Yeah. And then they sync it up to where Quentin has the adrenaline, and then Freddy's going to stab her in the chest. Mm-hmm. And then Quentin just bam, hits it. And at this point, Freddy and Nancy come back into the real world. And Freddy gets thrown off to the side. And Nancy's like, get him. And then Quentin has to go grab the blade, right?
Yeah.
And then this is where Freddy gets over there, starts beating the shit out of him, and then stabs Quentin in the shoulder. So he's out. He's down on the ground. And then Nancy gets up and she has the thing. She's like, hey, Freddy, fuck you, right?
Yeah.
And slices, and I thought this was cool, and because the sound and everything, slices his throat, and then his neck is so sliced, his head starts to fall back, like fall off. I thought that was fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to my world, bitch.
Yeah, and in it too, she also cut off his glove.
Oh, before, because he was going to kill Quentin, and she cuts it off, and she's like, oh, it hurts, doesn't it? And then she's like, well, welcome to my world, bitch.
Yeah, he just lays her. He's done. And then she grabs Quentin, helps him up. They're walking out of the room, and then she turns around and grabs that lantern and throws it at the room, and the building goes up in fire again.
So, little fun fact, the abandoned preschool set was an actual defunct school chosen for its naturally eerie atmosphere.
That's cool.
And the final confrontation was designed to mirror classic horror film showdowns, blending suspense with action.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, then they survive. They walk out of that. They burn the place down.
The firefighters are there already.
Yeah.
To put out the fire.
Yeah.
And then they both get taken in an ambulance. And Quentin took the beating in this one, and he wakes up, and she's like, all right, nightmares are over.
Yeah.
And then she gets home.
Yeah, they walk through the door, and the mom's like, okay, I want you to get as much rest as you can. And she sets the keys down, and then there's a mirror behind her. My favorite part of the whole movie, man. That chick, Freddy, smashes through the mirror, grabs her, and just impales her eyes, like, all the way through her head, and then grabs her and pulls her through the mirror. I love that. That was fucking sweet. CGI cheesy or not, that was cool. Did you like that?
He was fine.
Did you like the mom dying in the first one or the mom dying in this one?
And the first one, because
in the bed where it's just melting down.
Yeah, pulled in. And then you see more of like...
I like that the mom was an alcoholic in the first one. Mom. Yeah, she was a shitty mom. That's where the dad, dude, we should have had the cop dad.
And this one,
yeah. That would have been tight. I like this one. I mean, I like them both, but this one was so cool, man. He fucking just smashes her head because she was making me mad throughout the movie. She was just, and I was like, sweet, sweet.
You're done.
Yeah, I loved it. And then that was the end of the movie, right? Was there any like extra credit?
Not that I saw. I kind of skipped forward a little bit and I didn't see anything else.
Yeah,
or maybe I didn't get far enough. More on the schools.
Yeah.
The high school, I guess it was filmed between two high schools.
Yeah.
The board of the school allowed it to happen under one condition, that there were no deaths inside the school actually filmed or taking place.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that this movie, I guess, it also broke record for midnight opening for a horror film.
Yeah, that's tight. Okay, so I have a couple facts here. Our main character, Nancy Rooney Mara, her commitment, she played Nancy, went through extensive training for her role, including learning about sleep disorders and nightmares. She also performed many of her own stunts, adding to the film's authenticity. And then, like we were bringing up throughout the movie, the homage to the original.
Yeah.
This film includes several nods to the original 84 film. For example, the scene where Chris is lifted and thrown around the room by an unseen force is direct homage to Tina's death in the original movie. And then, okay, I knew I had it in my notes. So while the film used CGI for some of the more elaborate dream sequences, many of the special effects are practical. This includes the infamous scene where Freddy's face pushes through the wall above Nancy's bed, achieved using flexible latex wall rather than CGI, which bullshit. I will put money down on that. Sorry, I'm just going through these. Freddy's backstory. So you mentioned this, not have an idea. So the remake delves deeper into Freddy Krueger's backstory, providing more details about his life before he became a killer. This includes his role as a gardener at the preschool and his interactions with the children, which added a new layer of horror to his character.
Okay.
And then, despite mixed reviews, it grossed, like we said, 115 million worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another tie to Michael Bay and the Transformers. So the music score, the film score was composed by Steve Jablonsky, known for his work on the Transformers series. He aimed to create a haunting and atmospheric soundtrack that would complement the film's dark and eerie tone.
Okay.
Which, And then this, babe, we got to find out. We might have to buy this. Deleted scenes.
Oh, I did hear about
Several scenes were deleted from the final cut of the movie, including more detailed dream sequences and additional character development moments, which I think would have helped this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The scenes can be found on the film's DVD and Blu-ray releases, offering fans a more comprehensive look at the story. We might have to find that. I want to see that. Because, dude, that makes sense. Michael Bay fucking gutted this shit. Like, I want to see the fucking, those cuts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But anyways, that's what I had for extra things. Now that we talked about it extensively, has your opinion changed about the movie?
No.
Go. Oh, wow. That was direct. You still hate it, huh?
I mean, it's cool. It was his, the director's only film.
You weren't entertained at all.
There were big shoes to fill. No.
At all. You didn't like it at all.
Mm-mm.
I think you didn't see it in the theaters. I think that's what helped me. And I just love the genre. I love this movie. Or I love the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie, I appreciated it. It was a different take,
mm-hmm.
a different look at it. I like that some of the changes they did. Maybe it fell short, but I still like the effort and I enjoyed it.
I did have a couple more things.
Yeah.
So this is from one of the producers. I guess due to the backlash over the remake, the next film that the studio made was The Purge in 2013. So they took a 3-year hiatus from this.
Wow. And they did The Purge, though. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And then the other thing, initially, it was huge success. They did a lot, well financially. And then immediately the studio also greenlit production on a sequel, again with Jackie Earle as Freddy.
Which I think they should have. I think it would have got better.
Discussions over his salary, storylines. But because of the backlash afterwards, it was kind of put to an end. The other thing here, so it was set in Ohio, the movie, right? The town.
Yeah.
But it was actually filmed in Illinois for tax credit reasons. So they got a tax break for filming there.
Yeah.
And then, compared to the original films, which do have a dark humor and a black comedy, this was meant to be taken more seriously and have more grittiness. And then one thing that I saw was the crew was drawing inspiration from The Dark Knight, which had come out at the time.
Yeah.
Which...
2008, The Joker, everybody was trying to redo that. Yeah.
Freddy's voice, so it was digitally and post-production altered to make it seem more supernatural.
Yeah.
And then, regarding the animators who did CGI, they were the same people that worked on Harvey Dent's Two-Face in The Dark Knight that they brought on. And then, I guess one thing that I kind of, after I read this, I kind of started seeing it in the film. Every time, at the beginning, especially when Freddy was going to make an appearance, the scenes, the colors of the green and red were a little more prominent to kind of give you a heads up.
And the tone, the tone would get colder too. The scene, the background would at least get cold looking.
Okay, I appreciate what they try to do, Richard.
You do?
I just don't like fucking Freddy's story.
Oh my god, you're hung up on that so bad. That's what makes the character the character.
I don't. If I want to listen to true crime stuff, I'll listen to true crime stuff.
You're fucking wild.
They just
I appreciated it. But I knew that backstory. I already knew that.
I don't. And and then he just, I feel like
sorry your life got altered with
they
that.
Did.
Oh my God.
Like all the
because you're rooting for this Freddy Krueger the whole time.
I was like, oh yeah, he's just a crazy deranged serial killer and he just kills people in their dreams. And he was funny like in the first like the original movies at times. Yeah. And all of a sudden he's being like, you smell different. This is my favorite dress. You look so good. And it's like, stop it. Just kill them. Don't make me feel uncomfortable.
Made you feel dirty.
Yes.
So what was your favorite kill?
My favorite kill?
This one had plenty.
There were 6 kills.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a note to think about what was my favorite kill and I did not write it down.
You don't have one?
You go first. I'm trying to think. Maybe.
So my favorite kill is the mom.
I fucking knew you were going to say the
mom.
But
my second would be Dean, and then my third would be Jesse, and then my fourth would be Chris.
You didn't like Chris's kill?
It was cool. I like that, and I like the homage to the first one. But no, I like the mom just getting blasted at the end. That was tight. That was fucking awesome.
Does Freddy's kill even count then if he came back?
Yeah, it could count.
And kill the mom?
Yeah. So I have a thing on that. Continue.
I don't know. I'll probably have to say Dean.
You like Dean? Yeah, that was a good one. So Freddy, interesting you bring this up.
Oh my Leonta. What about Freddy?
So my thing is, so I have a problem with this. With Freddy, the only way he can live is in dreams of people or kids who are aware of him.
Okay.
Well, if he keeps killing the people, won't he die when everybody forgets? Also, how did he become to be, I know he was murdered, but how to get to the dream world? So from what I found out, Freddy Krueger's existence in the dream world and his ability to kill while being dependent on people remembering him raises interesting questions, right? And then here's what I found. Freddy's origin was a child murderer who was burned alive. He made a deal with dream demons who granted him the power to enter and manipulate dreams. This is how he gained access to the dream world.
Oh, okay.
And I believe that was like in 4 or 5. I think I have that further. I put in my notes. And then sustaining his existence. I looked this up. Freddy's power relies on fear and memory. If everyone forgets him, he loses his power. The concept is explored in various films, such as Freddy vs. Jason, where Freddy uses Jason to instill fear and keep the legend alive. His aim is to terrorize and kill while ensuring that enough people remember and fear him to sustain his existence. So does he keep one alive just to spread the good word of Freddy Krueger? So then I found the paradox to this, because I'm not the only one who was thinking this. The paradox of killing all his victims and losing the power forgotten is a central tension in this series. Freddy often manipulates circumstances to maintain his legend and keep people aware of his presence. The dynamic creates a continual battle for Freddy to stay relevant and feared, providing an ongoing challenge in the series. And then I was looking, why did he start killing kids outside the original parents?
So you went on the rabbit hole.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger started killing kids outside of the original group of children due to the expanding nature of his fear and legend. Once he started haunting dreams, his influence spread beyond the initial circle of new generation and became aware his presence and feared of kids fearing him. And then I was like, does he kill multiple people in dreams? And they said, from what I read, it's kind of, for the most part, he kills them one at a time, but has been known to have multiple people like Quentin and Nancy in dreams.
Yeah.
And Dream Warriors. And then, that's what I had. Sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, but I was just curious, man. The Dream Demons. I forgot what one that is. It's like Dream Master or something. They dive into that. They dive into the birth of Freddy. So in one of the movies, I don't think you watched it yet. It might have been where it showed the baby Freddy.
Yeah.
In the picture on Netflix. It might have been in Dream Child, but it shows him being birthed into fucking a psycho, what do you call that, mental facility?
Yeah, mental ward.
Psych ward, and there's a bunch of crazy people all around, and his mom got raped. His mom was a nurse who got raped there by a crazy person,
my God.
Freddy was born.
Okay.
I might have that wrong a little bit, but
I have to finish them before
it's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious. I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, all these fucking weirdos are just surrounding him. Like, it's cheesy as fuck.
Hello, child.
Yeah. Anyways, back to it. So your favorite death was Dean. Mm-hmm. What would you rate this movie?
Out of whole 5 stars.
Yeah.
A 2.5.
You give it a 2.5?
Yeah.
That's not bad. I give this one for its effort. I give it a 3.
Okay.
So I was entertained. I liked it. I was entertained.
It was really good quality movie.
What do you mean?
Like the some of the scenes.
Yeah. Oh, the cinematography.
The cinematography was really good. Yeah. I like
CGI felt flat for me, but
I like Jackie.
Yeah. I like what they're trying to do. I like the cast for the most part. Jackie Earle Haley was pretty good, considering his, he was kind of limited.
His restraints.
Yes. So yeah, I give it a 3. You give it 2.5, so we're pretty close.
That's enough.
Yeah. Do we want to bring in Vienna in the review corner? Does she have reviews this time? She kind of bailed on us twice.
Twice?
Yeah, twice already.
I think she did her homework. She showed up. She has reviews for us today.
All right.
Overall, I feel like there was kind of mixed reviews as well. Kind of middle of the road ratings for the movie. IMDb gave it a 5.2 out of 10.
That's pretty good.
Rotten Tomatoes, 14%.
Not so good.
Metacritic, 35%.
I've seen that, which isn't bad.
No, and then for Hex and Giggles Google users, 69%.
See, people like this movie. I know our fan base. We've already had it. They're like, "Oh man, that piece of shit. Good luck." Like, dude. So the hardcore fans that we have, at least following us, already shit on it. So you're welcome, guys. You're welcome. All right. So it looks like Vienna is ready for the review corner.
Hey.
What's going on?
Making the best list ever of horror movies.
Okay, I like it. I like it. What's on top? Babadook?
Oh, I forgot to put one in.
Oh my God, that's your favorite movie.
No, it isn't. I combined like my mom, what she had in her list, and Kelsey's, and then I'm putting
What about mine?
My bad. I was gonna ask you.
Wow, the one that matters. The one that matters.
I'm gonna add some of mine in. I'm adding some really messed up ones.
Like what?
A Siberian film, necromantic, slaughter, vomit dolls. Have you heard of it? The trilogy?
Again, I gotta watch these movies and I gotta talk about it extensively. So you gotta make sure I enjoy these movies.
I'll talk about them.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited you're taking an active interest. Can't wait to cover these movies. It'll be fun. Anyways, so did you watch this movie?
Kind of.
Kind of?
Yeah.
What'd you see of it?
So I kind of saw where they were like talking, and he tried offering his meds, and then when he like choked in the pool, and where the mom, they were at the table and they were like, he touched you, and then like the scenes back to like when they were in kindergarten.
Okay.
And then like kind of
so you got the gist of it. You got the gist of it. Did you like the movie? Didn't do anything for you?
Not really.
What was your favorite kill?
I didn't have one. I didn't watch like any of the kills.
Dang. Okay. Well, what would you rate this movie without seeing any of the kills?
I don't know. I'd have to watch it.
What? And you're reviewing? This review corner sucks. There's no like, how can we trust your review?
You're gonna trust other people's reviews.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What do you what do you have?
First of all, I'd like to say I'm kind of sad. I forgot to wear my sweater. That almost looks.
Oh my God, your Freddy sweater in June.
In June, yeah. No, it has blue instead of red though.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. So starting off, someone gave it a 3, and they said, well, this didn't go as badly as I thought. Compared to the original, it's not great, especially when they straight out recreate key moments, always came off second best. But
That's
just
fair.
taken as 21st century slasher, I thought it was alright. Was not expecting that twist that then twisted back on itself, came out of the blue for me, and even though Freddy started wisecracking the last 10 minutes, was suitably unnerving. The score was nice, and it did enough of its own thing for me to stop comparing midway and just enjoy it for what it was.
Same here. That's what I've been trying to say this whole review.
I kind of thought this was you that wrote it.
I
No,
know.
just
Maybe
kidding.
it was. Who was the name?
Helen S.'s review.
Helen S? Dude, that's my pseudonym.
Oh my god! And then someone else said 3 stars and a heart. And they said, it always starts the same way. At first, I can totally understand how Platinum Dunes would figure that hiring the person who directed the music video for Smells Like Teen Spirit would be a good choice to helm a movie about distressed teenagers being lied to their parents, featuring an iconic sweater so filthy it might be contagious. But then it occurs to me that Kurt isn't even wearing a sweater in that video.
Is he not?
No, he's wearing like a brown and green shirt.
Oh, shit, he is.
Like,
Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm. I
always
thought he was
picture
too.
the sweater, yeah.
And there's more, but
Yeah,
I don't want to read all.
Oh.
Want me to?
Damn, no. What else do you got?
Okay. And then, sorry, I'm switching over to my notes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, someone else gave it half a star and said, whoever thought this was a good idea, you're ugly and stinky, and if I see you in the street,
Wow.
I will hit you with my car.
Oh my god.
Another person gave it 1 star and said, it takes balls to remake a film involving one of the greatest horror icons ever.
I agree.
It takes brains to do it right. That would make this all balls and no brains whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree though. It was an attempt. Shit, dude. Better than I could do.
Someone gave it 2 stars and a heart and said, Freddy Krueger looks like a pizza.
Oh my god, yeah, a little pepperoni pizza.
Someone else gave it a 1 star and said, I legitimately have never seen a post-2000s horror remake that has had good lighting.
That is true. There was a period of time when everything was super dark.
Someone gave it 3 stars and a heart and said, like the original, but goes way harder on the molestation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was a choice I did not care for.
Oh, well, Angelus wrote that. What's your pseudonym?
I don't know.
Oh,
Someone gave it 3 stars and a heart and said, this is good and I don't care. Life is short. Enjoy 2000s horror remakes. Run in the forest. Be gay. I don't know.
YOLO.
Someone gave it 3.5 stars and a heart and said, best decision ever was to watch this doped AF with flu meds because it didn't scare me this time, and you just got me looking at the screen, contemplating if they dead-ass gave Freddy an alien look or my mind is messing with me.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for the reviews.
Yes.
Man, do you have any suggestions for the next movie we should watch? We will strongly consider them.
No, you won't.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna be like,
I promise.
oh, that movie?
I promise. What are you thinking?
I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Damn. I'm thinking either
Wow.
like we should maybe cover like Bad Moon. It's a werewolf movie.
Oh, you could do a werewolf movie, I think.
I know.
feel like
love
you guys
werewolf
haven't done
movie. We haven't. Bad Moon would be pretty good.
or have
No, I'm trying to save the alien ones because they're fucking bangers.
I guess Critters, kinda, right? Aren't they aliens?
Yeah, they're critters.
Yeah.
We could do Alien.
Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. Find a really stupid one.
Dude, oh
Just
my
kidding.
god. Well, we could. We could go foreign. So we could do foreign.
The Ring? Like the
Oh, we
Japanese
could do
version?
The Ring. We could do both if we wanted to. The Rings, the American one, and was it Japanese?
Yeah.
Or Korean?
No, it's Japanese.
It's Japanese. Okay. We could do those. The Grudge.
The Grudge.
That was good.
I don't think I watched that one.
Oh, The Grudge is pretty good. Well, all right. Thank you for your reviews. We appreciate
Child's
it.
Play 3.
Oh,
Wait.
shit.
What's the one? No, never mind.
What?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you. until next time, if you show up.
If I don't fall asleep.
Yeah.
Because you guys take a long time.
Participation. Anyways, babe, what do you think? Those are good suggestions.
Lots of good suggestions. All I know for the past few weeks, I keep hearing, you guys never want to cover Child's Play 3.
Hey, Lord Pineapple, I'm looking out for you, man. I want to watch it too.
So we could do Child's Play 3 and then go forward.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. Let's weigh our options though.
You gonna think about it? It's gonna be a surprise.
Yeah, let's weigh our options. Let's surprise the crowd.
Okay.
All right.
Hasta luego.
Thanks for listening to Horror Cinema Obsession. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If so, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And join us next time for another episode of Horror Cinema Obsession.